Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me this evening are Adam.
Aw, man, I was expecting He-Man.
And Cryptic.
You know what? He-Man got canceled, so you know what? DC comic got canceled. We all got canceled. Yeah.
Maybe we lucked out.
Yeah.
Also, you don't want to be the current iteration of He-Man where he has just been entirely neutered from everything that I've heard.
Yeah.
And of course... oh, go ahead.
Just to be fair, like they're gonna kill off the Trinity, Superman, Batman, and Batman in the next week. So.
Oh, yeah, they're trying to replace everyone with a female counterpart, effectively.
Mhm.
Oh, you haven't heard this, Adam? They've announced...
Hold on. Why don't you continue with the intro, sir?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Of course, as it is Friday, I'm the keeper for the evening, Sanguine. How are all of you doing tonight?
Splendid.
That's good to hear. Cryptic?
Dandy. Is the key word.
Beautiful.
Break out
So
your thesaurus, peoples. We're having fun tonight. Oh, shit.
So yeah, you haven't heard this, Adam? The Batgirl controversy, the new Justice League that the DCU is trying to push and all that shit?
Well, I mean, I kind of had an understanding that they were doing some change-ups, so to speak, with the lineups, but I never... I didn't know that it was like a goal to replace the Trinity. That's kind of odd.
So
what
they're doing is they are going to have a new Justice League put out, which is going to be effectively the female Justice League. So rather than Superman, it's going to be Supergirl. Rather than Batman, it's going to be Batgirl.
And what about Wonder Woman?
I think Wonder Woman's just going to stay Wonder Woman because she's already female.
Oh.
No, it's even worse than that. They actually are going to kill off Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
Wait, they're going to kill them off?
Oh, they're going to properly kill off all three. I know that they were planning on killing off Batman, and I know that they were planning on killing off Superman. I didn't know that they were going to kill off Wonder Woman as well.
They couldn't go retire?
No,
they have to fucking kill them.
They're going to kill them off because reasons. DC has been SJW for like the last 2 years. Even after they saw how badly Marvel fucking fucked up with their bullshit, they're still going to follow along because it, I mean,
DC. Honestly, the only info I've been getting out of that, when I do kind of dig into it, I mean, recently, for a while, I've been just listening to old like comedy bits just to try and keep a happy mindset. But the only thing, like I watch Young Ripper, and he's been talking about the Vixen because I guess he got in a scuffle with the writer. Or some Twitter beef with the writer or some shit. And so that's the only thing I know. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait, it's how's that not obvious? It's been this way for a while.
Yep. Yeah, DC has as much trouble dealing with Superman as Marvel has dealing with Captain America. Because both Superman and Captain America are politically inconvenient, to say the least, at the current time, since the entire point of Captain America is just a really fucking good guy, and the shit that he does is because he is superpowered, but the fact that he wants to do it has absolutely nothing to do with the super serum. The Captain America was Captain America. Steve Rogers was Captain America before he got the super serum. The only difference is that he was a really ineffectual Captain America before the super serum.
Yeah.
And then he got the ability due to the super serum, and he started just kicking ass and doing shit that needed to be done. And the whole point of Superman is not, oh, he's the chosen one from Krypton, or he's so special because he's an alien. No, the entire point and what made Superman Superman was Superman is effectively just a good guy from Kansas that was raised right, who happens to have superpowers. So it was meant to be this is what our good guys that are raised in middle America that have this very strong moral code and know right from wrong, this is what all of them would be if they had the ability. That was effectively the message of Superman.
Yeah, he's the good guy that grew up in middle America, right? He had American values, but they're like, oh no, he's too hard to write for. It's like he's a Kansas kid, like literally, that's all he is.
One of the best episodes, and I've mentioned this before on air, of the old Superman, not the old ones, but the Superman series that was contemporary to the New Adventures of Batman. You know that series that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the Bruce Timm stuff.
Yep, the like classic 90s stuff.
Yeah.
One of the best episodes of Superman from that run is Superman is almost positive that someone is being framed for something, but he can't really go about and investigate it as Superman and be able to find the sorts of things that he needs to do and make the sorts of connections that he needs to make in order to prove this. So he decides that he's going to do this all as Clark Kent. So he goes through the entire episode as Clark Kent. He doesn't use his powers through most of the episode. He's just doing reporter shit because Clark Kent's a reporter. And he finds all the evidence that he needs to prove that the man has been framed. And as he's going to deliver the evidence, the person who's actually guilty of the crime tries to assassinate Clark Kent. And they end up causing him to go off the road into the water. And he knows that they're watching for Clark Kent to try to bob to the surface or make sure that he doesn't, and then know safely that he's dead. And he gets out of there because he's able to just swim a long distance and then surface far away so that they can't see him surface. And he ends up calling Ma and Pa Kent because he doesn't know what he's supposed to do now. He knows that there's an innocent man who's about to be, I think, executed for the crime. But he also knows that if he goes forward, there's a fair chance that the person who's actually responsible for the crime will be able to figure out, shit, Clark Kent's Superman. And he's worried about that, so he calls Ma and Pa Kent to ask what he should do, because he knows that there's a right answer to this morally, and he's not sure what it is. So he calls the two most moral people that he can possibly imagine, his parents. And the response from Ma and Pa Kent is effectively, there's an innocent man who's about to die if you don't do anything. You know what the right thing to do. And if they find out that Clark Kent is Superman, so what? Clark Kent has always been Superman. You will always be Clark Kent no matter what guise you wear. And you're always going to be Superman. You're both. It does not matter what you call. You could come back with any other name, you'll still be Clark Kent, you'll still be our boy, and you'll still be Superman. So he goes and he clears the man of the charges, giving over the evidence. And that is the entire drama of that episode. He was trying so hard to make this a win for Clark Kent, because he was viewing Clark Kent and Superman as two different people. And his parents just set him right and went, no, they aren't two different people. They're both you. You are Clark Kent. You aren't anyone else. No matter what you say your name is at any given moment, you're Clark Kent. You're our son. And that is an amazing episode. And that was the core of Superman. That is the reason why people love Superman. This is something that they got in the old movies. Probably one of the best, most Superman moments from any Superman media is that episode, and then at the very beginning of the Reeves movies, I think it was the very beginning of the first Reeves movie, he gets mugged and he plays along to getting mugged. He's fucking Superman. He could stop it at any time.
Nope. One finger.
But he doesn't. He just goes, okay, yeah, here's this. And he acts like he gets knocked out, if I remember correctly, collapses. And then the guy goes away and he just kind of stands back up, starts moving. Like nothing happened, because he's fucking Superman, and doesn't matter what the person did to him, he'd be perfectly fine. Those are two of the most Superman moments, or really the most Clark Kent moments of anything. And that was why Superman is so popular. That is why Superman is so popular. Because it isn't that he's an alien. Go ahead.
Well, Superman is a god, but he doesn't make himself like an overbearing being. He wants to fit in, right? Superman is he's the guy that, like, look, he has power to fucking crush your skull, but he's not going to use it ever, unless you're like Darkseid. But that's besides the point.
And even then, he has trouble just killing someone, even with Darkseid. He's had opportunities, and he's just not been able to bring himself.
Yeah, he holds himself back for majority of his time in the comic book history. He's always held himself until his full power, right? But that makes Superman who he is. He's not. He knows he can crush you in the fucking tip of his finger, but he doesn't do it because he knows that you are. Which not to his physical or genetic standard when it comes to that shit, but he grew up as an American. First of all, he grew up as a human. So if you can't write to that kind of shit, you are a shit writer, you know.
Yeah, it's like I said, he is just the good guy from Middle America. That is his entire character. And then it's the good guy from Middle America who's given superpowers. So you take that morality of Middle America, that morality of there are things that are right, there are things that are wrong, and there are times when you need to stop people because they are harming others. You take that morality and then you give someone the ability to actually do something about it. That is Superman in a nutshell.
Well, hold on. I think you just answered your own question, my friend. What is the reason? Because they then focus just on the superhero abilities of, we can't write for Superman because we can't develop a villain who could do any sort of damage to him. But you're not finding the correct villain. The correct villain is somebody who would challenge his morality. And like the story that you just said, it's 100% what, like, that's how you write a good Superman story, because the dude does have the ability to just rip everybody apart and own the city. We've seen that in Injustice. Good story. But his restriction on himself and his humility is what makes him a great character. And I would say that along with Captain America.
Yep.
But with Superman specifically, as we were talking about, the fact that they would go out and say that they can't do it is not so much that they can't, is they don't want to. Because to them, to a lot of these people, and we're seeing it, and again, Young Ripa presents it really nicely, is they are focused solely on themselves. And a lot of these people, I hate to say it, but again, your actions speak volumes. You're not good people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't write stories about good, virtuistic moral values. And, a lot of it, I would say, was started with a deterioration of where they kind of equated it with strictly Christian values. And it's like, well, no, good values don't necessarily need to come from a religion, a theology.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them do, because a lot of theologies, and especially the ones that have remained to this point, kind of harbor some of those core values, positive moristic values, and for a good reason, because it helps sustainability. And that's the whole fucking point. And then when you attribute that to Superman, it's like, dude, all you're doing is amplifying that and saying he has the ability to fucking just blow you away with his wind breath or hit you with the lasers. What is he going to do to avoid having to do that? And in a similar way, Batman is kind of the same. Whereas he has the ability to do that shit, but a lot of times, like the whole, I don't kill. He kills, but, he tries not to, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will say, though, after this, hold on, don't let me forget Batman and homelessness. Okay, so as soon as we're done with the Superman Captain America, because it's kind of relevant, but it's but yeah, Superman, more writing. Yes, that's my.
And that's the reason why Superman's most iconic arch nemesis, hands down, Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
because Lex Luthor constantly puts Superman, when Lex Luthor and Superman are written well, he is constantly putting Superman in a position where Superman is going, yeah, I can easily kick the shit out of Lex Luthor, but that wouldn't be right to do. And he ends up twisting Superman into positions where he's stuck in a gray zone where there's no answer that is clearly in the right, that is clearly good. So Superman has to decide which course of action is the best of a bad situation. That's where they're written the best. But the problem is that, like I said, these characters are anathema to the modern sensibilities. It doesn't work with a social justice narrative to have just a good guy who has the ability to do something and is having to work through the morality of it. Because, no, he should be doing all kinds of things for the greater good. He should be killing millionaires because it's the right thing to do. No, it isn't the right thing to do. They don't understand the character. They don't understand the morality and mentality of the character. And it's the same reason why they have a problem with Captain America, because Captain America is just the really damn good American guy. He is the for my country and for the ideals upon which it stands.
Well, not only that, but he says it in the comics sometimes, but he said it best in the movie. He's like, I don't like bullies, and that's pretty much it. Like he does not like seeing people being picked on and accosted, and he is for the truth. But I gotta say, and for a opposite viewpoint in terms of the villains, that's why my favorite villain is Doctor Doom. is because he's a villain, but that motherfucker is doing it for the benefit of his people, and the way he's viewing his altruistic nature is for the benefit of people. Yeah, you can look at it as totalitarianism, but in his eyes, I'm giving you utopia, and yeah, I get it, communism and all that, but it's fucking Dr. Doom, man. Come on. It's like I'm sorry, like he's still like, and especially since like a lot of the draw for his drive is trying to bring his mother back with magic and science. He's a cool guy. I like Dr. Doom.
Yeah, and Dr. Doom and Lex Luthor, hands down, two of the best villain characters in anything, because both of them can do one of my favorite things from any bit of literature, which is there's some ridiculous big bad that wants to destroy everything, and you have the heroes, which they can kind of fight him, but they're probably going to lose if they try to go toe to toe. And then you have the evil guy who just comes over and goes, "I'll help you. You're evil. We fight you constantly." "Yeah, but I'll help you because I want to rule everything. That motherfucker wants to destroy it. If he destroys it, I don't get to rule it. Let's fuck him up."
Ew, dude, and you know what? In terms of Doctor Doom, the best depiction of that is the animated series. I think it's Justice. Shit, I can't remember. It's one of the, because they made two around the same time, but one has a different name. It's kind of like the Justice League. There's Justice League and then Justice League Unlimited or something like that. But with the Avengers, Doom was like, you know what? I found out that there's these Skrulls and they want to take over the world. These lizards are going to take the world. This is my world. So I'll help you now. But just understand that that's just because I want you to do the dirty work. I'm going to sit back and wait until you're done. And then I'm going to take... It's fucking genius, dude.
Yeah. And that's something that both those characters have done numerous times in their runs in each of their respective universes, where Lex Luthor has numerous times gone to the Justice League when there's like Darkseid or some other cosmically big bad, and he'll say, "You guys have no chance of winning. I'll tip the balance." "Well, why the fuck would you do that?" "Because I'm sure that I can beat you at some point. I'm not sure that I can beat him without you. And I'm pretty sure you can't beat him without me.
He's wedging the bets.
We team up. We beat him. After that, we go back to how we've been. We have a thing going here. I don't want him to kill you. I want to be the person that beats you." And that's where a lot of the best characters in a bunch of different types of fiction kind of start. That is the best way of having the villain turn good guy, and probably the two clearest representations of that in pop culture are both from the same series, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
I was just about to say that's probably the opposite. Because and Doc Ock would be part of that too, because Doc Ock helps Spider-Man sometimes. But I would say the only difference is like people like, okay, so Piccolo wanted to destroy the world, but eventually he becomes their friend and he helps them. And Vegeta the same. But there's characters like Cell who just wanted to kill Goku, or Boo, who just wanted to, he just wanted to destroy the world. But Vegeta never really went back to, and it's Z, not Zed, Terry. You fucking get out of your queenish language. But Vegeta never really went back, except for the Majin part. He never really went back to trying to start conquering planets and stuff. And the same with Piccolo. Like, they never really went back to that. They stayed kind of the companions.
I would say that both of them had their point where they first started to work with the good guys, as it were, because Piccolo didn't really have the I want to destroy the world so much as I want to make the world mine. And then he found out about it was really Raditz when there was the swap between him being the bad guy of Dragon Ball and becoming a kind of good guy because he decided, I want to rule the planet. There's this Raditz motherfucker. They pop world to world and destroy them or enslave them. If they destroy it or enslave it, I can't rule it. Fuck it, Goku, let's kick his ass. And then he teamed up, started doing that, realized there's probably more of these fuckers. Shit, I won't be able to do it myself. I'm kidnapping this kid, and you motherfuckers better pull your own weight. And then it was just, he kept on getting rolled into these, the world is at stake situations, and kept steamrolling from there until he went, okay, I kind of like these people that I've been fighting with for so long. And he just became a solid good guy. With Vegeta, started out evil. Saiyan Saga, definitely evil. When he teamed up with the Z fighters, it was, this motherfucker destroyed my entire home planet, pretty much annihilated my entire species. I've always wanted to kill him. You guys were able to beat me. I want to beat you eventually, but I really want this fucker dead. You're going to help me get this fucker dead. And then he went from that into the, no, I have a massive feud with Kakarot now, because Kakarot was able to beat me, and then Kakarot got the killing blow on Frieza, as it were. So, until I beat him, I'm not able to say that I'm the true Prince of the Saiyans. And due to that, he started hanging around. He always had that hard-on for kicking the shit out of Goku. But it was always that, no, motherfucker, you don't get to beat him. I'm going to beat him. You want to try to beat him, you have to fight me first. Fuck you.
So yeah, it's kind of been like it, because even in Super, he, although I guess I've been seeing something called, because Goku has a thing called Ultra Instinct, and then I guess Vegeta gets something called Ultra Ego, where he taps into the evil part, where, you know, he wanted to do that. I don't know if it's real or though, because I don't really go into the to the depths of those. It's weird. I'll go into crazy depths about UFOs and Bigfoot and shit, but like, is this piece of manga real, or is this just somebody's fanfic? I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna guess on it. But
one of the best fan theories that I've ever heard when it comes to the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, just the Dragon Ball universe, is the thing that Vegeta doesn't quite notice, but should be somewhat obvious to him, is he and Goku had two entirely different backgrounds when it came to fighting. So they are both probably masters at the type of fighting that they were each brought up in. But you're currently looking at someone who, Goku's effectively the absolutely insane duelist. You get him in a one-on-one fight, and that motherfucker clears house. Whereas Vegeta is effectively the soldier. So it'd be like trying to say, okay, which is a better fighter? The best fencer from the Renaissance or Roman legionnaire? Well, what type of fighting are we talking? Are we talking fighting in formation? Because the Roman legionnaire wins that fight fucking hands down. There's absolutely no chance that the Roman legionnaire is going to be the worst of the two fighters. If you're talking a one-on-one duel...
One-on-one duel between a legionnaire and... Well, hold on, what kind of armor are we talking?
one-on-one duel between a legionnaire and the best fencer to have ever been.
No. But for the legionnaire, but because we're talking time period too, because we're talking three different. We're talking. I'm not even gonna attempt the.
You're
Latin
talking very different time periods, but let's say that it is. They're using effectively contemporary equipment, and both of them have trained up in their contemporary equipment.
Well, no. The only reason I bring it up is because we get the earliest where it has a chainmail and a short gladius, and then we have the middle where it has a plate armor but it has a gladius. But then we go to the late period where we're talking like Byzantine, where they have the spathia and essentially chainmail. So it's a different, like for a fencer, they have so many openings because they're so much quicker. But I mean, they barely have any armor. I mean, it would be a good fight. It would be a gladiatorial fight for sure, I would say.
Yeah. What I'm getting at though is that there's two entirely different styles of fighting.
Oh yeah,
one of them is a soldier. One of them is a unit fighter, effectively. And you stick them in the unit against whatever number of foes, they're going to kick ass. A duelist is really goddamn amazing at fighting one person. Really amazing duelists can kind of branch out and be able to fight a few people at once. Not all that many, but especially if they have any real skill. But they'll be able to fight at least a couple people.
Shit, at that point, you're
lower
talking
skill.
about like a swashbuckler or something.
Yeah, you're talking about someone who's really goddamn proficient at their craft, that they're able to expand out. Just like how you have... There's the line from The Princess Bride, which is Fezzik when he's fighting Wesley. And he says that he's been fighting groups of people for so long that he's forgotten that there's moves that work against groups that don't work against individuals.
Did you just pull a Princess Bride reference?
Fuck yes, I did.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And there's truth to that, and it's something that you'll see when you're looking at old manuals for fighting. Like, there's the... You are familiar with the designation of greatsword, right, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Cryptic, do you know the designation of greatsword? If Cryptic is around his mic, I know that he muted. I'm not sure if he stepped away for a moment or if he's still right there. I'm going to assume he stepped away for a moment. So, for those who don't know what a greatsword is, a greatsword is effectively the largest fucking type of sword that was used. These were not weapons that you would use in a duel. These are weapons that you would use to go against a group of people. That is the only use of great swords. It was to go against groups of people. So you would have this be used by either small units of mercenaries and specially trained men that would effectively go in to disrupt a pike square, or you would have this used by bodyguards, mercenaries, and that were escorts for merchants and shit like that. So it would be one or two of them against like 5 to 10 people. And they would give them the great sword because you swing that shit around you and no one's able to get within like 6 feet of you without having to worry about, am I going to catch that sword in some part of my body? So it'd be these massive sweeping blows rather than when you're dealing with fencing. You want to keep it nice and tight so that you're always able to return and keep your focus. Entirely different weapons.
Well, that's also why I was thinking of the difference between a legionnaire and a fencer is the fencer, in terms of like, especially with the plate armor, the fencer is going to have to figure out a way to get to those hit points. But the soldier, I don't know. I mean, he's going to have moves, but it's going to be tethered towards the sword style. I mean, the Gladius isn't really something that you could. It wasn't. It was a chopping and stabbing sword. It wasn't really precise type of. It was a butcher sword.
Yeah, and
the
even with the stabbing, it was effectively a short stab. It wasn't a proper thrust. It was, you pump your arm forward, the blade goes into someone's side, you pull your arm back, and then you step forward.
And preferably not against full plate armor. I mean, not that the fencer is going to have plate armor or any sort of heavy armor, because I mean, I would assume that the fencer probably had no armor to keep light. But at that end, the Legionnaire is going to be, I don't know, and even with like a Spathia, it's like a longer gladius, but it was made more for use, like kind of like how the Vikings fought with their swords, where they kind of maneuvered around the shield, as opposed to like we're swinging the sword over your head. No, they would push the shield out and maneuver the sword around the shield, like kind of like it was a cutting utensil, like or a guide, and they would do that.
To respond to what Assassin of the Grey just said, he says, we must remember the gladius was a personal defense weapon, so the Roman used spear primarily. That is
they didn't.
Very early Republican period.
The Triarii would use a spear.
Yes, which is the very early Republican period.
Yeah, that's when they were still fighting over the hills, dude. Come on.
Yep. Once you went to the Imperial period, the primary weapon of the Legionnaire was a Legionary Gladius, which was... So there were 3 main categories of early Gladius, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adam.
Well, they pretty much, after they conquered the Iberian Peninsula, they adapted the Gladius because the Spaniards were using it. And yeah, there were multiple types. There was more leafed or fluted type of blades. But it really was just it's you're getting close, and you're going to use your shield more to get into the person and just either chop them or stab them.
Yep, and
hold on, but I will say in terms of the spear, eventually they did use a pila, and they had like 3 to 4 pilas on them that they would throw prior. Hastati would use it mainly. I don't know if I'm pretty sure.
No, the legions would have a 1, 2, or 3, depending on how well equipped they were.
Yeah, and pila weren't really, like, you could use them as spears, but their design was mainly used to disable the shields. Yeah, it was made so it would penetrate the shield, and you wouldn't be able to use that shield anymore. You could use it as a spear. I believe there was a battle where they were told to use it as a spear. I can't remember what the fucking battle was. No, it's gonna.
And it was effectively only the heavy pila that could really be used as a spear at all. Because there were 2 major types of pila. There was the light pila, which was the longer ranged of the 2.
Yeah, they're usually used by the skirmishers.
And it was designed so that it didn't really have a pin between the head and the haft. And the haft was made of the lead up to the head was made of much softer metal than the head of the spear. So what you would do is you'd throw the light pila. It would hit someone's shield more likely than not. And the moment that it hit someone's shield, the metal leading to the head would kind of flop down almost, bending so that you couldn't grab a thrown pilum and throw it back without having to straighten it after. So it would kind of flop down, making it so that you now have a hunk of metal jutting out of the front of your shield, kind of dragging it down. making it more difficult to keep your formation and keep a nice tight shield wall. And then there was the heavy peeler, which I think also lacked a joiner between the haft and the metal that led up to the head, but it was much heavier, so it didn't bend as much.
Yeah, but it had better penetration.
Much better penetration. And that was used at closer ranges, effectively right as the enemy started to charge, and was close enough that you were about to start your counter charge, because they almost always counter charge. You would chuck your heavy peeler, have that slam into the enemy seconds before your wall crushed against theirs. And it would cause just enough disruption that they were kind of fucked.
And you got to remember that they they developed this system alongside where typically armies consisted of just spearmen, just dudes with spears and shields. So the ability of the short sword alongside, because I mean the Spaniards use the short sword, and there's Gaelic. Obviously, everybody's a short sword coming from the Bronze Age, but specifically their bigger tactic that made them even more proficient in the battlefield was the way the triple axes setup of their lines. They didn't just line up formations. They had chunks of, I can't say legions because they weren't legions yet. They weren't legions until the Marius reforms, but their groupings were checkerboard, and so they also allowed their
talking
leaders,
about the Coincus formation.
Yeah. So it was that coupled with the short sword. It wasn't, once you get past the spear, you're done. You're fucking done. And especially when you're fighting against, because you got to remember they were facing off against a lot more phalanx. So
yeah, you're specifically talking, especially during the time of
the Pyrrhus Fire Wars.
Yes, of the Pyrrhus of Epirus.
Yeah.
And that was the real big, how does a legion square off against a phalanx? And it came down to somewhat of, well, it depends on the terrain. But even when the terrain was against them, the legion did not lose by all that much. Whereas if the terrain was against the phalanx and they were squaring off against a legion, oh, they were fucked.
Hold on, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, because you're right. A phalanx operates way better on a flat battlefield. I mean, later legions would do the same, only because of that they became heavy infantry at the offset. They weren't really light infantry for the Romans, except for the auxiliaries, but they perform better on flat open battlefields. I guess the same could be said years later, hundreds of years later, at the Battle of Agincourt, where the heavy knights, was it Battle of Agincourt? Where the heavy knights
Agincourt, where it was rain right before.
Yep.
So the knights had a fucking hell of a time dealing with the terrain, whereas the English
and then the archers were just like
yeah, the English force was like almost 50% just archers. And as the knights are struggling to go through the terrain, the archers are just like, wow, they're moving slow. So shall we shoot them with more arrows? Yes, let's. And they would just keep on feathering them.
Is that where also the concept of the British V as opposed to the middle finger? It's the I think it was like a rumor or like a myth where it was they cut off the fingers of the longbowmen.
Yeah, there's the idea that the origin of the middle finger was in the, I'm trying to remember, I think it's called the Mediterranean style, which is also the main style that was used in England, was you would draw back with 3 fingers, one of them being the middle finger, and the middle finger would kind of add a good chunk of the strength of drawing back the bow, opposed to the Asiatic style, which is the thumb draw typically. I think the Mongols were particularly known for their thumb draws.
Whoa, we can have a whole episode about the Mongols.
Oh, yeah. But there's the origin of, well, where did the middle finger come from? And there's an idea that it was during the 100 Years' War, if a Englishman was caught in order to cripple the bowmen, because the bowmen were just slaughtering, especially in the early period of the 100 Years' War.
Yep.
They would sever the middle finger from any prisoner that they captured. That way the prisoner would not be able to properly draw a bow in the standard fingering that was normally used to do so. But that is something that it's one of the popular origins. Whether or not that is the origin kind of is
Up in the air.
Up in the air for a bit. But yeah, there was also the two-finger salute, which Assassin of the Grey mentioned, which is also effectively the V for the hand gesture, was the idea that the English were showing, we still have our fucking fingers, come and take them, you bastards. So there's the origin of potentially the middle finger and potentially the rude gesture of up yours with the two fingers, because that used to be another really classic rude gesture before it became the V for victory.
I always thought it was because you like two fingers up the ass or something like that. I don't know, and spread them.
Yeah, it has a couple different potential origins, but it's something that was known as a rude gesture in a number of cultures, the two-finger salute.
Yeah. Hold on. Assassin of the Grey. He's used the terminology. Frogs, I'm assuming meaning are fine Frenchmen. Look, I love the French. I'm not a fan that they have a whole song about onions. That's kind of weird, but
that's the most normal thing about them.
But are you British or something like that? Do we got a Brit on here? This is a Brit?
No, Assassin's American. Just Assassin has effectively the same hereditary disdain of most Frenchmen that I do.
Ah, okay. I was just like, oh shit, this dude really doesn't like.
Oh, I've said it before. I am damn near genetically predisposed to have an abhorrence of the French.
Oh well, that's true.
I'm Irish, English, Welsh, and German.
Yeah, you're all those people up north that the Franks kept coming up trying to say hello.
And in fact, I'm not supposedly, because there's fine evidence to back this, but yeah, I'm a descendant of one of those very people that came to have a go at taking over. Only I was part of the wave that was actually fucking successful, so suck it, the rest of you. Yeah, my family can trace back to the Norman invasion.
Hey, do it, man. Holy shit, you were the person at the fucking Stamford Bridge.
That's right before the Norman invasion. Stamford Bridge was the...
Oh shit, yeah, there was the North battle. Oh,
Battle of Harold Hardrada.
Yeah. Damn it. I keep getting them mixed up.
Yes, it was the Battle of Hastings that is the 1066 invasion.
Yeah.
Where the Huscarls of Harold Godwinson formed up upon a ridge. They spent like 2 days just absolutely slaughtering the Normans. And then the Normans ended up doing an inadvertent feigned retreat. I say an inadvertent feigned retreat because it wasn't a feigned retreat to start. since they thought that William the Conqueror had been slain, then William had to peel off his helmet, ride out in front of his troops, and effectively go, "No, I'm fucking alive! Turn back around! Stop running, you bastards!" And he was actually able to rally his men to turn around, meeting the Huskarls that had left their defended position at the top of the ridge, slaughtered them, and then they realized, oh, shit, this is a way that we can actually deal with them. That battle was a shit show by all the records. Have you ever read the records of the Battle of Hastings? Like the various accounts?
Yep.
Yeah. For those who don't know, the Normans had to do all kinds of insane shit in order to break the Huskarls.
It's kind of
first off, the Huskarls, for anyone that doesn't know what a Huskarl is, it's the housemen.
Like heavy axemen. Just think about that.
They were extremely heavy axemen. And by heavy axemen, I mean their axe was like 6 foot tall with a foot and a half long head.
Well, okay, hold on. When I say heavy axemen, I mean like they have really good equipped armor. They're experienced and they have really good weaponry.
Really fucking big axes.
Giant axes. Two-handed axes, let's just put it at that. But heavy when look, in future terms, if I imply heavy, that's what I mean. I mean they're well equipped and they're experienced.
Yeah, we don't mean that they were a bunch of fat bastards.
Yeah, they're not like giants out there. They're just, they're probably like the best of the best out there in terms of that field at the time.
Yeah, what we're talking about is the actual designation of heavy infantry, and these were heavy infantry that wielded axes, and their axes were the Huskarl axe, which is about 6 foot tall axe with a foot and a half long blade. And the most fucked up thing about how they would wield their axes is most people, because most people are right-handed, they would wield their weapons in a right-handed form, which meant that their weapon would swing down on the left-hand side of their opponent, and thus would be on the shield side, correct? The Housecarls went, fuck it, we're entirely going southpaw. Most of us are right-handed, but we're going southpaw. So rather than swinging down with our fucking enormous axes that have the head the size of a small baby, we're going to swing down on the right side, which is the weapon side of the person, rather than the shield side. So they have two options. Turn their body in order to try to catch the axe on their shield, which may or may not be able to hold, or try to intercept the massive fuck-off axe with their weapon, which again may or may not hold to the blow of the axe. Both are bad options.
There's a third option. Hope that they
the fucking thing in
I was gonna say, like, hope they have enough good armor on their weapon side and take the blow, maybe try and deflect it a bit, and hope that your arm doesn't break. Because there is no real, because either way, if he hits, unless you can properly deflect that blow, you're gonna get hurt, if not cut. Because again, we got to remember this: a lot of the armor at the time was chainmail. I mean, chainmail and gambeson. So it wasn't always they're going to cut you right open. They're going to slice you in half. But it was
they're just going to crush bone.
They're going to crush you, and then once you're down, you're fucked. You're fucked because you're down in the middle of a mosh pit. So it's these guys. Either way, it's gonna hurt.
Yep.
Going up against Huskarls, no, fuck no.
And they had these ridiculous axemen up front. Like I said, swinging their axes in the wrong fucking way according to everyone else. It would just be a line of these bastards. Supposedly they kept their axe moving in a figure 8. So they just maintained momentum of the axe head. there was no swing, then recovery period. It was swing, continue up, swing, and just keep on damn near flourishing with a two-handed axe.
And remember, we're talking about heavy infantry. So these people they're used to doing
Armored.
This. So they can do this for a while. So as somebody's coming up there with, their spear and shield, they're gonna stab. That thing's gonna be deflected, and then the next thing they know, they're getting an axe head to the fucking face. Like this is nuts.
And so that would be their primary response to cavalry charge. Start figure eighting this fucking axe around you. Infantry charge. Figure eight this fucking axe. Oh, it's an arrow volley? Well, right behind these axemen, they had the shield bearers. The shield bearers effectively just had this fucking massive oaken shield that would be about the size of a person. They would pick it up, walk in front of the housecarl that was just getting arrows shot at them, thunk the shield down into the ground, grab the housecarl, pull him underneath the shield as it's held at an angle. Arrows hit this massive oaken shield, pick up the shield, walk back behind the housecarl, set it down until you had to move it again. So the Normans had to shoot through their own fucking men as they had their archers fire while there were cavalry and infantry charges. So
but hold on, because the fucking they were being bombarded with arrows too, but they were on a hill, so they, the arrows weren't really effective. They weren't even if they were reaching their target, they were at the angle they were at, it wasn't making any sort of effect. And that's why they couldn't really do anything. They couldn't draw any of them out. It wasn't until they saw the Folly at the other hill, the smaller hill, that they made chase.
Yeah, like I said, they had to do several really fucked up tactics in order to beat the housecarls, because first off, rather than having the standard medieval tactic of we'll pelt them with arrows for a while, then we'll charge, and the volley of arrows will end before our men make it into melee, meaning that there's this breathing space of you're now fighting against the person who is just being pelted by arrows, but you aren't having to worry about your own men shooting you in the back. The Normans, in order to have any chance of hitting any of the housecarls with arrows, because of these fucking shield bearers, had to go, okay, we're going to mount a charge. While we're charging, the entire time that we're in melee range, continue shooting arrows. Wait, you're having them shoot arrows while I'm in melee with this fucker? Yes. They might hit me. That's a problem that we're willing to accept. Are you fucking kidding me? No. Fucking charge. So they were shooting through their own men to try to kill the housecarls. The housecarls were still handing the Normans their asses. Then, like I said, they thought that William the Conqueror had been laid low by a housecarl. So the Normans started to retreat. William the Conqueror had to peel off his helmet right in front of his entire army that was trying to retreat and effectively go, "You bastards, I'm still alive, turn around and fight." And it was only after that that they realized the housecarls broke rank in order to chase. So they were able to cut down a bunch of housecarls. And then they started to do one of the most dangerous military strategies of, we're going to charge them, we're going to fight for a bit, and then we're going to act like we're retreating. But retreat while seeming like you're in complete disorder, while maintaining good order. The reason why I say this is one of the most dangerous tactics is because there's a very thin line between a feigned retreat
An actual
and an actual retreat.
No, we're just playing. I'm not. Fuck this.
It is fairly common in history for a feigned retreat to turn into, they just broke and ran.
That's why when they actually work, like the Battle of Cannae, you look at it and you research it and you're like, yeah, okay. But one of the biggest things is cohesion in the unit. If the unit knows that we're feigning a retreat. It is not an actual retreat. We're just gonna let them cede some ground, and it's important.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, I wonder what we have. No, I'm sorry. The common thing we have now in the Ukraine.
Whoa, hold on. Are we gonna open up current politics or?
No. I'm just saying.
What do you want to take this, man?
What Gamer Valine was asking about.
Yeah,
the Spanish still have a navy, just it is nowhere near the size of their former glory days.
Before this American Revolutionary War?
Functionally, the last time that the Spanish had a really sizable fleet was the Spanish Armada.
When they kind of helped us up.
No, I'm talking the Spanish Armada where the Black Irish originated.
Oh.
Because you know who the Black Irish are, right?
Yeah.
Cryptic, you know the Black Irish, right? Any muted
negative? You would no negative. I would like to be educated.
So the Black Irish are effectively the survivors of the Spanish Armada.
They're Guinness. Oh shit!
So
damn it, that was bad. I was gonna mute for a second.
The Spanish Armada tried to launch an invasion of England, and they were planning on having several different prongs of it, hitting England and then fingers of it reaching up into Scotland and fingers of it reaching over to Ireland. And the English have a really lucky fucking history of whenever, with the exception of the Norman invasion, someone starts trying to launch ships to land in England, they have a nasty record of getting hit by massive storms. This happened during the Viking invasion of England when the second fleet of Guthrum the Unlucky ended up getting caught in a storm and 2/3 of it was destroyed. Same thing happened to the Spanish Armada. They started crossing towards England, got hit by a storm, a fuck ton of them sank, a good chunk of them ended up getting damaged, and then some of them ended up making it to Ireland. The Irish went, you hate the English, we hate the English, fuck it, we'll hide you. And that's effectively the origin of the Black Irish. And I'm not acting as if it has any effect on what happened now. I'm saying that, they didn't really have a fairly sizable navy since then. That was the last time that they were really a world power navy. They've had a navy since then, just it's never been anywhere near the top ever since then, is what I was saying. And it was just an interesting aside that I could talk about the Spanish Armada and their failed naval invasion of England. You should be used to this type of random goddamn aside.
No, that's very interesting. I enjoyed it.
That's why I always say when Sanguine's hosting, you should keep a notepad out and handy just to take notes. Because we come at you fast. You never know when we change it up.
And the Moops, or as they're more commonly known as outside of that one Seinfeld episode, the Moors, did have an interesting invasion of Spain. Also, it started the slave raiding of Europe by a group that later became known as the Barbary Pirate States.
Well, we're not allowed to talk about that type of history.
Yeah,
Just the history of when the Europeans went into Israel and took over Muslim land. So try and keep it PC there, Sanguine.
I did find it funny when there was one person saying, "Let me know when a black or brown person has been enslaving Europeans for over 400 years," and I'm going,
Ask the Spaniards.
the Spaniards, everyone that the area of land that became the Barbary states had been raiding since the Moorish conquest of Spain, where they, at their height, raided fucking Ireland.
Yeah, no, they were. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for good old Charles the Main, fucking, or who was it in the East?
Well,
The Polish guy. Ah, shit.
there were a bunch of them
Well,
because there
it
was,
a
of
constant-
course, Vlad Dracul.
Oh, okay. So, well,
There was-
the only problem with the East is it covers like two different fronts, where it's not only is it like a Islamic invasion, but it's a Mongolian invasion. Those guys were fighting off people left and right.
Yeah, you had the Islamic invasion, then you had the Golden Horde invasion, which was the Muslim Mongolian. Then you had the Turkic invasions.
Oh shit! Yeah.
That's the thing about Vlad. People don't understand. Like, he did a lot of what he did for his country. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
He did it. He might be brutal about it, but he fucking did a lot of what he did for Romania, modern day Romania, right?
Yep.
Not because he's an evil dude. He was fighting off Islamic invasions and being abused by them.
Yeah.
Supposedly story
there
wise,
was Vlad Dracul, who then was if I remember my history correctly, he was the father of Vlad Tepes. And Vlad Tepes is the one that everyone knows, or rather, I think Sora said the more proper pronunciation was Tsiepish. But Vlad Tsiepish was the son of Vlad Dracul, and he was originally given to the Turkic forces as a hostage. Then his elder brother, as well as his father, were brutally executed by the Ottomans. He witnessed the Ottomans and their various tactics. He took notes when it came to this effectively. He returned to Wallachia and became the leader of Wallachia, and went, "Okay, I've seen what the Turks do. Fuck it, I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to scare the ever-living shit out of them so they just leave us alone." And scare the ever-living shit out of everyone he did. When you decide that you're going to impale people on blunt logs so that they die slowly, that has a effect on morale of your enemy, to say the least.
Yeah, just a little bit, right?
He was very successful too, and it's like people fucking left him alone after that for a little while,
Yep.
his country alone. So
it's kind of like the tactic that was made famous by El Cid during the Reconquista.
And I was gonna say, and let's just be kind of fair here. I believe, was it Genghis Khan's siege of Babylon, and he built a wall of skulls.
Yep.
From people that he look, there's a whole bunch of shit that went on. Okay, so that's why it really pisses me off when I hear people bring up the oh, well, your people did this. And it's like, dude, humans have been evil for a long time. Like, there's evil humans out there. You know, nothing you can do about it. It was like they did some evil shit. You can at least acknowledge it and learn from it. Don't build human skull walls.
Saint Olga's vengeance for her husband being murdered. Have you ever heard about all the shit that Saint Olga did to avenge her husband?
Honestly, this is the first I've heard of Saint Olga.
So Saint Olga is I can't remember if it was the mother or grandmother of Saint Vladimir, but she was a Rus princess / queen. The Rus being the people that were the descendants of the Varangians, the Norsemen who ended up conquering a good chunk of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And she was Saint Olga of Kiev. She married her husband, who was this Rus prince, was trying to make peace deals and agreements with this one other group of Rus. For his effort, they murdered him rather violently. So they then sent an advisor, or a diplomat effectively, to Olga to demand that she marry one of their men after they had murdered her husband. She delayed the man, and came up with an extremely interesting approach to murder him and the man that he named as a potential suitor. Murdered them rather violently, then waited a bit and sent word going, okay, so last your advisor was here, he came, he negotiated a marriage, this person was supposed to come. Where the fuck did they go? Can you send more suitors? And she was able to talk her way into them sending a shit ton of their high and mighty to come as suitors to her. And they came up the river in this large boat. And as they came up the river, she sent out someone to treat with them and told them when they arrived, they were to remain in their ship so that they could have a proper show of power. And after a few times of her inviting them, they were to demand that their ship be carried to her stronghold. And that's when she would meet with them after their ship was carried to her, and she would marry one of these men. So they agreed, and they waited at anchor at the river and refused invitation for several days, and then demanded that if the people truly wanted them to meet Olga, that the people would have to carry them in their ship to the very walls of Olga's stronghold. During this entire time, Olga had ordered effectively the trench around her stronghold be dug deeper and filled with kindling. So when this demand came, she ordered her people to pull the ship from the water, and then all the people that they could to literally effectively crowd surf this fucking ship to her stronghold. So they did so. Once it arrived at the stronghold, she ordered it be cast into the trench that she had deepened on top of the kindling. She threw torches down, and she watched as everyone aboard the ship was burnt to death. It was after that the people that she had now slaughtered, their official who had come to negotiate a marriage contract, the man who they had sent as part of that marriage contract, and then all the men that they'd sent afterwards as a new marriage contract. After she had murdered all those people, that they went, oh, you aren't trying to actually be peaceful. And she then talked them into thinking that she was trying to be peaceful again. She went and she effectively slaughtered the entire group of people to the last fucking man. Crippling, well, either slaughtered or crippled them to the last fucking man. As a show of, you killed my fucking husband. Do you really think that I'm going to help you out? Fuck you. It was, I recommend reading into Olga's revenge of her husband. It is gloriously fucked history. But history is absolutely brutal, and it is amazingly so. Do we have any other topics that are at the fore of your mind, or something that you really want to launch into? Adam? Cryptic?
I've had an idea about putting together a timeline in terms of video game and its representation, because in lieu of the recent G4 outrage that's been going on,
the suicide that they just committed on the internet.
they basically hard-carried themselves fucking one on the first episode.
It's just so weird.
I would say it's damn near the Buddhist monks that immolate themselves in Chinese streets.
But hold on. But what I'm looking at it as, the Buddhist monk, what is it? Immolated, yeah. Immolated themselves. That's probably immolate. Immolated themselves in the street for their own ideals. But then the actual gamer standing on the sidewalk being like, why the fuck is he setting himself on fire? Can
we at least get marshmallows? I mean, shit.
What is going on? Because I'm sitting there like, how did we get here? Because I was looking at it like, this is again, this is why it gets into like, I wouldn't mind doing like a like doing what some like people do and they make a video about a topic and blah blah blah. I don't really like that. I really like the live form where we could just chat because it comes to mind. But at the same end, it's like, dude, I need to take notes because I get lost. But with this, it's like how did we get here? How did we get from the point where in the 80s it was looked at as video games was little kids with cereal boxes and they're playing Mario and shit, and then it gets to extreme age in the 90s where everybody's like, yeah, totally rad, extreme, super cool,
the irreverent gaming age,
right? And then it turns right into what is gaming? Oh, gaming is explosions, full motion video, big titty women's, and lingerie and shit. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, did the gamers choose that, or was that the marketing team? I'm beginning to think it was the marketing team. They thought that this is the direction that gamers were going because they were kind of growing with it. But at the same end, it's like, I don't think the gamers were really asking for, yeah, if I'm going to play a Super Mario Brothers game, it has to have explosions and big tits. Like,
let's be honest, if someone offered you something that you already enjoyed and they went, so we can give you nice tits while it remains the same in all other respects, you're going to go, I'm game. Let's see those nice tits.
No, because we have examples of that. And that's exactly right after where I was going. Right after when they started that, you start seeing a divide of people saying, dude, I just want, some decent games. And there were the people who were like, yeah, it has to have that. But that, yeah, it has to have that wasn't really that prominent. And
that's different than what I was just saying, because I wasn't saying that it was a mandatory thing. I was saying that if you have the choice of a really good game that has a fantastic story and a really good game that has a fantastic story and some nice eye candy, there's a fair chance that you're going to go, I get a fantastic game, a great story, and eye candy? Hell yeah.
Well, but the thing was that a lot of times the push from the suits behind the desk was just eye candy, not the gameplay. And that's where we got into this part where, because again, I feel like I'm missing like 10 to 15 years of video game history right after the PlayStation. I mean, I had a PlayStation 2, but after that, I kind of just stuck with Nintendo games and PC and like old PC games, not new ones. I played Rome and Medieval, but it wasn't like. So like, I'm seeing when I see people. Okay, so I guess the core source of this mentality is when I see people are like, "Oh shit, we lost Cryptic."
Yep, his internet probably hiccuped again. He'll be back in a moment.
Well, we pray for him to come back. But I guess the crux of where it comes from is when I see people were saying like,
take a moment for him to be able to hear again.
Oh
yeah.
When I see people saying like, I grew up watching Adam Sessler, and I really enjoyed watching G4, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, did you really? Like, I missed this entire part where this was part of video game culture, because I guess this is where I'm also missed with like the e-gaming shit. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, when did this become a thing? Like I don't know. I feel like I just blipped right back into life, and all of a sudden, this is the state of gamers. This is what a gamer is, like, and when you see this rant, it's like, what the fuck are you talking? like, what are you talking about?
It's the standard issue of the suits where they aren't actually part of a community and they see something that succeeds. And rather than looking at it and going, oh, it's because of all the surrounding importance. So they see action RPGs become successful. And rather than going, oh, this action RPG became ridiculously successful because it had a really good story. Example of this would be the Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Origins became immensely popular. And people loved Dragon Age Origins. And the suits went, well, that RPG system became really popular, so let's just do more of that RPG system. Without thinking, oh, the reason why this became so popular wasn't just because of the system. It was because of the story, and the system lent itself to the story. They just went, this system is working, let's make more of that system. So they just started cranking out that system, and there were some good games with that system. There were a lot of really shit games with that system. And then you have other games pop up where you had the rise of the Battle Royale. And they started going, oh, we need to make Battle Royales now. Not realizing that...
Shit, wait, real quick, pause. But speaking of Battle Royale, that just reminded me of something that, and it tethers together with what we're talking about, but just remind me open world. But yes, yep. Continue, sir.
So they just started cranking out Battle Royales because a Battle Royale became popular. So that means all Battle Royales will be popular, not that the battle royales have to be nice and tuned battle royales, and battle royales that they have just really tight gameplay. No. Any battle royale will work because a battle royale worked. And they'll just start cranking out those without paying attention to, no. The reason why that battle royale worked was it was rather well tuned. They balanced it out nicely. They made it so that it was compelling to play. Not just because it was a battle royale, but because it was a good battle royale.
Now, hold on. So, and again, excuse my ignorance, but is Fortnite a battle royale?
Yes,
it is
a building battle royale.
And so, wait, so I'm assuming a lot of this stemmed from Players Battleground Unknown, right? Or
PUBG.
PUBG, yeah.
Well, it really started with games before that. So there was the Arma 2 mod.
The mod stuff. Hey, don't get me started because
if I remember correctly, was the Arma mod, or was that the game that was based off the Arma mod?
It's Arma. It was the game based off Arma mod, yeah.
Okay, there was the mod for Arma before that, though, which was effectively a battle royale with zombies.
Yes.
And that was all an Arma mod. And that became really popular. So game companies decided, oh, this is popular. Let's make more of this. So games immediately started being made.
Hold on. Let's take that because we have the Battle Royale model. And then we also have right now, congruent, the Team Fortress Classic type game.
Yep.
Where it's
the champion shooters.
Yeah, champion shooters where the individual person, your medic, your assault, your defense, whatever. What was the other one? And then I guess do they still do the what's that top down?
Oh, the MOBAs?
Champions. Yeah, champions like
or
stuff.
They like Dotas and
Dota, yeah.
League. Yeah, there's
is that still a thing? I don't see. I don't fucking. All of this is alien to me, and I don't like it because it's like. But I thought I was a gamer. I was like, what the fuck? Like, where am I then?
Yes, they're still doing MOBAs, the massive online battle arenas.
Yes. Okay. So there's the top down.
Those are Dota, League, Smite, games like that.
Yes.
Then you have the MOBA shooters, which sometimes, if I remember correctly, are called champion shooters.
So that'd be like Fortnite.
That would be champion shooters would be like Paladins and Apex Legends, those styles of games.
Yeah.
And then you have another one is Siege. Rainbow Six Siege has become a champion shooter.
On its own?
Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege I think that's the right one, has become a champion shooter where you have...
No, I played that a lot, and it's a damn good game. It's its own fucking thing?
Well, it's a champion shooter as well. It's a score of different operators, and you select your operator that you want to play that game. Each operator has a special ability. You use the special ability.
If you play that and then you play one of these other games, it feels really different. Like it I don't know.
And that's what I was saying, where they confuse the type of game and the qualities of the game. So they see that Rainbow Six Siege does well. And they go, well, that one's technically a champion shooter, so let's make more champion shooters. Some of them are good. Some of them are really shitty. And the suits are looking at the ones that don't do well because they're shitty and going, well, why doesn't this do well? Rainbow Six Siege is doing well. It's the same thing. Not realizing Rainbow Six Siege puts a lot of time into balancing shit out, making sure that it's tight gameplay. And
it's good. It's a good game.
what they effectively just jerked off and slapped together in the process isn't balanced. It isn't tight. It doesn't pull off that shit. And then they confused.
Yeah, but
because
it has the graphics of Overwatch, so that should count for something, right?
that's what I'm saying. Where they'll try to match superficial characteristics of games. They'll try to match the graphics. They'll try to match the gameplay style rather than going. The reason why Mass Effect 1, 2, Dragon Age Origins, and a score of other games worked was because they had really good stories. And the gameplay kind of went along with the stories. And the reason why Siege and Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1942, the reason why those worked was they had really tight gameplay that you were able to get into and have fun with. They'll go, no, the reason why Rainbow Six Siege worked was because it was a champion shooter. So we just need to make more champion shooters. The reason why Mass Effect 1 and 2 worked, and the reason why Dragon Age Origin worked, was because they were in kind of that action RPG setting. So we just need to make more action RPGs, ignoring all the other shit that was actually the reason why it worked. They just do the most superficial shit of this is the style, or the reason why Overwatch worked was its slightly cartoony anime style. That's the real reason why that worked. No, it was because it was tight gameplay that people enjoyed.
Look, the gaming industry is all about fucking what you call it, trend, right?
Yep.
And it's usually the first people that do it right, they do it and they make a lot of money out of it, and then everybody else try to catch up and they try to do their own thing with it. And most of the time they lose track of what the original intent was, like you said,
Yep.
like Overwatch, first person kind of MOBA type of deal, right?
Yep.
It works. And then even Overwatch upon itself, when they added more characters and shit, they lose track of what was meant to be a game, right? The genre, the genre defining
Characteristics.
game. Yeah, characters. There you go. Yeah, and it's like they lose it, like StarCraft, right?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, RTS.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking terrific.
Yeah,
Warcraft,
really tight gameplay, really beautifully done.
right. StarCraft 2 came out. The first portion of the game was quite good, it wasn't better than StarCraft 1. But then StarCraft did, the later patches and expansion was fucking crap.
Yeah.
I did not like it at all, and they lost track, and they lost track of what was meant to be RTS, or what's called Call of Duty, what it was meant to be a fucking FPS, like what it meant to be a team deathmatch, right? Even simple as that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It got fucking boring in the sequential. After Modern Warfare, it got fucking boring as shit. That's why I stopped. I
will
playing.
say World at War was probably one of the best ones.
Right.
World at War was pretty good.
Yeah. But they like each generation of those games, they just kept losing the, like you said, the feel, the heart of what it is.
Hold on. I will say, I would agree to that.
Yeah.
On a majority of games that are out there, but there are some stalwarts that are out there that are holding the line for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would say one of the one of the games, first person shooters that I was playing, it actually was brought up recently in terms of do you play Counter-Strike and do you like the Counter-Strike series? And it's like or Half-Life series. And personally, I've never played Half-Life. I probably played the first level, maybe. And I know about it. But for me, it was all about Day of Defeat. And Day of Defeat, I swear, like I'm pretty sure, I would give you $100 right now. I can go on, and that's a lie. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give you because I don't want to. But there's a server.
No, you already said you'd give me $100. I'm holding you to that now, Adam.
Well, I reneged. But
I'll write that in my ledger. $100 from Adam.
There's a server on there called Adults Only. I think it's a Chicago server, but it's adults only server, and they only go with it's a type of Day of Defeat where you start with a pistol. Every kill you get a better weapon. But it's a lot of the same groups of people, and it reminds me of this tweet that I saw where it was like, in the early days of PC online gaming, that's what it was we would find servers that we would be comfortable playing in, and we would just form communities in there, and it would get to the point where we could just go in there and say, "What's up?" And everybody knew it. It was just cheers, like it was fucking. And we don't get that anymore because nowadays it's you go in there and you hit random and they put you with random people. So maybe that's where a lot of people are finding these conflicts.
And some games, they're even fucking that up more than ever before, because it used to be in like the Call of Duties and Modern Warfare games, you would connect to a random game and you'd be able to be connected with people that were of a myriad of different skill levels. Some really good, some kind of shit, and different experience levels. You would be able to play together, and then if you liked that group that you were playing with, you could just roll into the next game and keep playing with them, and then roll into the next game and keep playing with them.
Yeah.
In the most recent, was it the Medal of Honor game that just came out? They got rid of the ability to continue rolling with the same lobby. So after each game, you're kicked out, and then you're brought into an entirely new lobby.
That's just stupid.
Oh, okay. So that's how they do it in Paladins, I've noticed.
And they also got rid of the ability to pull up the leaderboard in that game, if I remember correctly.
Wait, they disabled the ability to pull up?
They got rid of the leaderboard.
Oh, what the fuck is the point then?
So you can't look up who gets the most kills on your team and shit like that anymore, or how your team's doing versus theirs when it comes to kill counts and deaths, because they thought that allowed people to be harassed for how well they were playing. When no, the way that you become better is you have to have some measurable metric, and you need to be in a game that you aren't getting completely blown out, but you aren't winning easily, nor are you, like I said, getting blown out. You need to just be in that it's difficult to win, but it can be possible to win. That's how you get better. And you were saying, Cryptic?
That's not even the point of any of that. I'm like, I agree with you that with all that stuff, but the majority point of that is like, if you see somebody, right, that has the experience, you're like, okay, fine, like, all right, I want to get to that point. Like, you are, like, let's say somebody's like, I don't know, the fuck we call it nowadays, like S rank, right? You play with them, you're like, okay, cool, like, this is what I want to achieve, It's not about you sucking. Like, sometimes when I was playing Call of Duty, right, there's some S rank or whatever you call it, players, right? I think I'd beat your ass right now, and I get more kills than them. It's not you can't try to get rid of rank and like, oh yeah, it's also demoralizing, right? So if you play with somebody that's also like higher ranked than you, and they whooping your ass constantly left and right, you're like, and you don't know that they were S ranked, and you think you suck constantly. Also,
Mhm.
So it's kind of like psychological things. Like you're demoralizing a portion of your player base, right?
Mhm.
It's
Holy
just
shit, dude! Dude?
yeah,
100%, yes. I was just thinking about because I had an experience with that recently with a group that I'm with that we play Blaze Blue, and I
sure.
was playing with this one guy, um, but he's obviously he's an expert at this thing,
Mhm.
and I'm just learning, so it's like I'm not gaining anything. I'm not even gaining like how can like counter strategies to it because this dude's just going into
You're
his
just getting blown out.
yeah. So it's like it, there is no gain from this from any of us. Like, and how are you enjoying it? You're obviously enjoying it because you're enjoying just toppling over people. But that's no, it's not, Terry. You know what? The best fighting game, Terry, is Virtual Fighter. Okay, and
Mhm.
you can go ask Quiz about that. He'll back me up.
Kill instinct. Screw y'all.
Get out.
And yeah, to comment on what Assassin of the Grey just said, I also got kind of sick of Call of Duty because it went from a war is fucked, but there are heroes in war to America's really the villains of everything. When you really get down to it, it's our fault. And when it started doing that shit and the plot wasn't, it'd be one thing if the plot actually built up to that nicely, but so many of them, they just kind of go, nope, we're the evil guys. And you're going, the plot doesn't really justify this. What the fuck's going on here? It pisses you off. And it's you getting not only talked down to, but talked down to by a preacher, effectively. It's not even someone who is talking down to you just because they're an asshole. No, no, no. They're talking down to you because they are the good people and you just don't understand. And when that starts happening, you just go, nope, fucking done with this. And it's the part that pisses me off. And like I said, there are absolutely really good games still being made. And there are games of every category that you can find that are really good examples of just fun, tight games with really good stories. I've mentioned the Yakuza series many times. The Yakuza series, fucking amazing story. Really good balance of comedy, serious action throughout the entire game. You have just some goddamn weird missions, and then you have other missions and side jobs and shit like that in those games that make you feel for the character that you're playing as. And it doesn't seem to matter if it's one of those action RPGs where it's a single main character and you're just rolling through, which they were kind of action RPG beat 'em up games for most of the Yakuza series, but then Yakuza Like a Dragon came out and it's a JRPG. Still the same world, similar, or a lot of the characters end up coming back, similar plot to in general, still has that same comedy, still has that same feel despite being an entirely different type of game, and it's still fun as shit. It is enjoyable as all hell. I will again say, if you haven't played the Yakuza series, play the Yakuza series.
Hmm.
It will be this just charming game. You might get annoyed with the controls here and there. You might get annoyed with the things that you have to do in order to get certain missions and certain trophies. But on the whole, you'll probably be going, that was fun. I like that story. Even when you get pissed off, you'll still be going, I want to figure out what the hell happens in this game. So, really good games. There's a bunch of other games. I've been playing a bit of an older, not really that old, but it's been out for a fair few years now. Battle Brothers. Have any of you heard of or played Battle Brothers before?
Battle Brothers.
Battle
Battle Brothers on what?
Battle Brothers, it's on Steam and probably most of the other game stores as well.
Is that a current game?
Let me pull up when it came out. And
Jeez, now we're time travelers. Those fucking
Battle
ridiculous.
Brothers is a turn-based tactical RPG that came out. One moment, pulling up the store page on Steam to see when it came out. And its release date was 2017. So it's 5 years old now, but
No,
it is.
I have not played it. What is
It is-
what is this game about?
An interesting game. The premise is there's a bunch of different origins that you can take, but you're the leader of a mercenary company, and it's a turn-based game with kind of charmingly simplistic graphics, but a really interesting randomly generated story. You outfit your mercenaries, you choose the jobs that you go on. Eventually you run into the world crisis towards the end of your game, and those range from a war between the major powers in the world that just plunges everything into hell, to zombie invasion, to orc invasion. All kinds of random shit can happen as the end mission of the game. And you're just trying to make money as a mercenary and survive and figure out what the fuck is going on in this world. So, really fun. Fairly simplistic. An absolute bastard because it has kind of simple tactics, but your men will get crippled in battle, your men will die in battle, and you'll have to replace them. You'll level them up as they go. Fun game. So there's a bunch of games out that are still fun. There's new games that are out that are fun. Old games are still as amazing as they ever were. So there's still things to enjoy. But there's just a large chunk of the game creators that they're constantly trying to chase the big genre now. And it was a massive issue in MMOs. It's still a massive issue in MMOs, where an MMO will come out, it'll be unique, it'll have its own feel, and then it'll undergo wowification, as I call it, where just every update turns the game ever more into just a WoW clone.
Yeah, that was the problem with the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yep. Knights of the Old Republic, when it first came out, it was fun. And you felt like you were actually affecting the universe that you were in. And then as it went, it felt like you had less effect. It felt like it was less distinctly itself and was just ever more WoW.
It's a WoW clone after a while, you know?
Yep. And
So.
probably the most egregious example, I've mentioned this on air before, was the Age of Conan Hyberian Age. Did you ever play that one, Cryptic?
I did not.
I played it.
You played it? So you remember, did you play it early on, Adam?
I picked up a copy probably midway through its lifespan.
Okay, so
Yeah,
after they started simplifying shit.
Yeah, and I didn't really play it that much because I don't know. I was trying to find a good MMORPG to play, but that was just one of the samples.
Yep, you probably would have liked it really early on, because I know I loved it early on. Rather than having the special moves that you click a button and they just do the special move, early on, effectively, you had to enter fighting game combos. So there were a bunch of different attacks and shit that you could have your character do. They were just basic attacks, and every special move was a series of special attacks in a specific order in order for your character to do something cool. So if you were a fighter, let's say, and just the basic melee brawler in the game, one of your combos might have been right side descending diagonal, left side descending diagonal, horizontal / vertical up / thrust. And when you did that, then your character would continue a combo after you got that part of the combo, and they would do the actual special move. But that was the setup for the special move, and you had to hit the buttons in the right timing or else the move didn't go off. So you felt like you were actually doing something. You felt like you were actually having to control this fighter rather than just, I click one button and, oh, would you look at that? He does this cool combo. It would have been nice if I had to do anything to do that combo.
They have that now.
Did they bring back the combos?
No, they have. You can purchase one-hit fatalities and shit.
Oh, that's retarded.
Yep.
Yeah, it used to be something that you could actually work in, and you had a real skill bar where it wasn't just what your character could do, but what you could get your character to do, which made it fun as fuck, because how much time you put into the game actually had payoff rather than just being your equipment and shit like that. And again, it was one of those games that you felt like you were affecting the world around you. Really cool. And then they started to wowify, losing the heart of the game. And yeah, to comment on something that Terry said when I was mentioning the Yakuza series of games, you can go from watching someone have to cut off his own pinky, and then you go and you sing a bit of karaoke.
Wait, what? He has to cut off his own pinky?
Yeah, in the Yakuza game, it's you're playing a character that's associated with the Japanese Yakuza, of course, hence the name. So they'll be doing all kinds of insanely illegal shit and really tense moments in cutscenes and in the actual story, but then in between the actual story bits, you'll be doing shit like running off and going to sing karaoke, playing a few games of bowling, hitting up the billiards hall, and ending up having to deal with the town pervert who just runs around in his underwear, thrusting into the air. And you're just going, okay, I love this game. This is weird. What the fuck is going on? Probably one of the best moments from Yakuza is there's this really tense cutscene where every character is feeling just beaten to the fucking ground. Like they're half dead because it has just been non-stop dealing with issue after issue after issue. And this like 5-year-old girl just looks at the main character and goes, so, you mentioned a soapland? What's a soapland? Soaplands are whorehouses. And it's just this awkward moment of the main character looking at the other characters like, I'm being asked by a 5-year-old. How do I respond to a 5-year-old asking me this shit? What the hell? And it is played entirely for laughs, and it actually hits right. So you do have that, everything's really tense, and then that line hits, and you end up actually laughing. It is fantastic. And there's just a lot of games that try to just follow what the most popular game in the genre is doing without realizing why that game is the most popular in the genre. So they just become a cheap clone rather than actually emulating the success.
Yeah.
WoW became extremely popular because of the world it was in. It was in this world that had a lot of history, had a lot of cool shit to see, a lot of cool people to encounter. Its gameplay aided that, and you could become awesome. That's the reason why WoW became popular. If you don't have its same world, you don't have the same people that you meet and run into, then trying to copy WoW will just end up with you being a cheap imitation rather than becoming the next WoW. But people don't fucking understand that, or at least the suits don't understand that, so they go, make it more like WoW. When you have a really tight first-person shooter that the guns just really goddamn feel great in the game, the story's compelling, and everything's just top-notch, chef's kiss all the way.
I mean, hold on. I wouldn't say, I would think it depends more on the developers, and this is also where I get kind of an issue with people complaining about working in this field. It's like, you signed up for it, so you should have wanted to do this. But in terms of the development teams, I don't see why they couldn't use WoW as a base model and just go from there. And there has been instances where they tried that, but a lot of times they just kind of cut cookie and paste, the fucking formula, and it doesn't, like, dude, look, if you're just copying and pasting the fucking the source material, it's bound to fail.
Yep.
There's no way around it. If you don't have anything to fluff it up with, it's bound to fail. So you gotta do work on it, that structure works, but you also have to do something better.
Yeah, it's the reason why I'm saying that it's the suits, because the suits are meant to be the people that are there to organize and orchestrate, right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Well, the suits,
it comes
they're
down
gonna make decisions for whatever their interest is.
But I'm saying what their actual responsibility on paper is, that they're supposed to be the ones that organize everyone else. So they're supposed to be going to the writing team and going, hey, I need a good story. They're supposed to be going to the developer, or going to the animators and going, okay, here's the story. I need you to animate this shit. They're supposed to be going to the programmers and going, okay, I need you to program all this shit in, and making sure that everyone's talking to each other and there's communication going around. They're meant to be the orchestrators. They're the conductors at the front of the band, as it were. But they're the ones dropping the ball, because they'll just go to the programmers and say, this game has this, make it in this game, rather than trying to actually make sure that it fits in the game by talking to the writers, talking to everyone, and going, okay, does this shit work? They'll just go, nope, we need this, add it in. And that's what's fucking up gaming. And like I said, they mistake things that help. Like I said in the very beginning, when it came to tits in games, tits in games are nice. Most people that aren't SJWs will, if a game is good and it has tits, that's a nice perk.
Well, hold on. Here's a simple example. Would the game Tomb Raider have performed as well if it was an Indiana Jones looking character? And I'm saying Indiana Jones looking character specifically because while Lara Croft had an appearance that became iconic, whether or not, because sex symbol, whatever, she became an iconic symbol, a visual symbol. Indiana Jones is a visual iconic symbol.
Mm-hmm.
You see a dude with, corduroys, a leather jacket, and a cowboy hat, right?
Yep.
It's not a cowboy hat, but
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
It's effectively a wide brim fedora.
Yeah, an Indiana Jones hat. But if you were to have crafted a game that was the Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider game, but instead you swapped out the model to be an Indiana Jones type of character, or even like an Alan Wake type of guy, it was because of the gameplay.
Yep.
It wasn't, like that the fact that there's people like, ooh, Lara Croft had triangle titties. It's like, dude, that's just the icing on the cake, to say to speak. Like
it's easy to say that it would still have been successful because Uncharted's a thing.
Yeah.
And Uncharted and Tomb Raider are fairly comparable when you look at them. Because in Uncharted, what are you doing? Well, you're going to various ruins, you're thwarting bad guys, you're discovering ancient relics that shouldn't be exposed to modern civilization, and dealing with all that shit. Okay, what are you doing in Tomb Raider? Well, you're going to ancient ruins, you're encountering bad guys, you're thwarting bad guys, and you're uncovering relics that shouldn't be exposed to modern civilization. 1 year guy, 1 year woman. They have similar aspects on paper. Now, the way that they implement everything is different, and that's the reason why they're both popular, because they both implement things well. But to say that the only reason why Tomb Raider is popular is because Lara Croft, no. Did Lara Croft help? Most likely. But Bayonetta is a game that it's undeniable that the main character, a lot of people find attractive. Did that help the sales? Probably. But the main thing that drove Bayonetta sales was the actual gameplay for Bayonetta was fucking tight.
Don't get me started on Bayonetta.
It was good shit.
Come on, man.
It was fun. Yeah, you have a whole bunch of games that. The reason why they succeed is the actual fun, whereas you have people that don't understand that, so they just try to emulate.
But that's the thing that gets me is, like, at this point we should already see the strategies that they're pulling up. We should see that when they're leading with this, we should counter with this. Like,
the thing is that we do see that, and that is happening. Look at the sales of AAA games. AAA games aren't selling anywhere near what AAA games used to sell.
Well, no. Well, I don't know.
They're killing entire franchises.
Hold on. Let's be real. What's the top high-end games that are coming out right now, and in the top, they're in the three systems respective. PC doesn't count only because they tend to get all of them eventually.
Yep.
But
look at the latest Battlefield sales versus
oh shit, yeah, I didn't even see that.
old Battlefield. They've damn near killed the Battlefield franchise. Look at all the main standbys. And with the exception of FIFA and Madden, which they continue just making FIFA and Madden games, all of them have suffered drops in sales.
The sport titles?
No, FIFA and Madden are the exceptions, I'm saying.
Okay.
But when you look at, like, Medal of Honor, its experience drops. When you look at Call of Duty, its experience drops. When you look at the Battlefield, its experience drops. All the AAA titles, they're suffering because they lost their fucking plot. Whereas when you look at third-party games, when you look at the small production houses, those tend to be the ones that are actually moving shit forward. And those tend to be the games that a lot of people get really like, oh, did you hear about this game coming out? It's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
How
but they
many
don't buy them?
How many Activision games have you gotten really excited for recently? Whereas, think of a game that you have actually gotten excited for recently. There's a fair chance that it's a small production studio.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know. I probably shouldn't buy another game. I mean, I still haven't played fucking Metroid. Shit.
That is also one of the exceptions. Nintendo tends to do fairly well with not fucking over their actual IPs.
Well, that's what I mean though. Like, I feel so out of the loop because I've been hanging out with the Nintendo group for so long. So it's just like, but even then, even these guys, they have a goofy look at shit where they're like, oh, we didn't get this, and so we feel a certain type of way. It's like, why? Just don't buy the game. What the fuck's wrong with you people?
Mm-hmm.
But with Xbox and PS and the PlayStation group, like, especially with Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, it's eesh.
Like I said, they're effectively grabbing up a bunch of studios that almost no one gets excited for anymore. I've heard far more hype over games like Hades and Bastion than I have over major AAA titles.
Well, hey, I mean, if you're not online with Diablo 2, apparently they, boot you off and you're not allowed to play. So, I don't understand why these companies, these bigger companies, especially with the legacy. Okay, I want to say officially, I don't understand it. Unofficially, yeah, it's they're deliberately fucking in them. Like they're trying to rip them down. There's no other explanation because it's retarded to think otherwise. Like, like what the fuck? Why would they diminish their highest grossing platforms and titles? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, that's what they do.
Well, it's a misconception that those group of game quote unquote people buy the game. It's not. It's us who play those type of game.
Mm-hmm. And the games, like I said, that people are really getting excited for tend to be all third-party studios. I've heard Hades was a really big game. People loved Hades. Terry mentioned Desktop Dungeon. I've heard people talk about that. It's an indie developer. Shovel Knight was an indie developer. These games that actually get people excited and get people talking about them because they were fun as hell, those tend to be indie games. And the big studios are effectively coasting on previous glory. It's like you guys heard about the hullabaloo when it came to Silicon Valley in the past couple weeks, right?
What do you mean?
Silicon Valley is effectively surviving on her inherited code. Almost none of the code that's running any of our major social media websites was made by the people that are currently at those social media sites, and almost no one working for the company knows how to read the code anymore. It was done by the previous people. It was done by the people that actually knew what the fuck they were doing, and now the current group is just coasting. They don't know how to actually write the shit that made the sites that they're working for. And you have a lot of game devs that are effectively doing the same thing. They don't know how to make the games that made the companies important. And they're just hoping that someone will buy the game because they remember playing Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, those games that were so big, so loved, and you'll see Call of Duty again and you'll go, yeah, I'll buy a Call of Duty. That's what they're hoping, because they don't actually know how to do anything anymore. They've hired a bunch of absolutely feckless people, and they're just coasting.
But see, I think that's exactly how we got to where we're at now. And I think that's exactly how we accumulated to this lady ranting on G4 about fucking sexism.
And it is exactly that, because it used to be that you could tune into Tech TV and G4 and get people that were actually passionate about the topic talking about what they were passionate about. Like, you watched Old School X Play, right, Adam?
No.
Oh, you never watched Old School X Play?
No, I've never seen it. That's why I'm sitting there wondering, like, what in the fuck are these people talking about? Where they're like, oh yeah, I was such a fan. Like, what did they do? Did they talk
when
about
you talk about
games?
Old
Like,
School
what the
X
fuck
Play,
are they talking
it
about?
was people that were actually really passionate about gaming, talking about games. So the two mainstays of X Play in the early days were Morgan Webb and Adam Sessler, back before Adam Sessler went completely fucking insane, and when he looked happy. Now he looks chronically depressed.
I don't know. I mean, at least he has a good range in clapping.
But back in the day, when they talked about games, it was clear that they fucking loved gaming. And yeah, Morgan Webb had the 3rd degree black belt in sarcasm. But they clearly loved games, and they knew about the games that they were talking about. They also had a bunch of people that were big in the early days of gaming on YouTube get hired onto the show. So have you ever heard of Mr. Sark? He's still fairly popular on YouTube in the gaming sphere. He doesn't put out videos as much as he used to, but he was someone that got hired by Machinima, and he did X-Play for a while as well. Have either of you heard of Mr. Sark?
I have not.
Really funny guy, really loves gaming. Clear that he loves gaming. In the old days of X-Play, they would talk about games that are coming out. They would also talk about gaming culture and shit like that. So Mr. Sark, his big thing was he got into Halo in the fairly early days of Halo and a lot of other FPSs. So you remember when Halo Forge became a thing? That was what, Halo 2, Halo 3 time frame that Halo Forge first became a thing, where you could make your own maps?
Again, the Halo era, I wasn't. I mean, I played, local Halo 4 player, of course, but I mean, outside of that, I like around that era. I think the last like physical game that I got on that time was like Final Fantasy 12 and Doom 3.
So I just looked it up. Halo Forge was released in Halo 3. So Halo Forge, you can make your own map, and people would make challenge maps. Sark was on X-Play in the early days at one point, and he was really big into Halo games, and he would talk about the Halo challenge maps that people would make on Halo Forge. And be talking about the ridiculousness, give tips on how to get to different things when you're playing multiplayer, and shit like that. It was interesting. It was fun. And again, he clearly enjoyed the game. They clearly enjoyed the game. So when you listen to them, you'd be going, oh, okay, they are actually passionate about it. So you felt like you could trust them when they went, this game, fucking amazing. Go get this game. And if they went, this game, absolute dog shit. I felt like I was having a seizure, and it looked like the main character was having a grand mal while he was trying to aim. Stay away from this goddamn game. Drake of the 99 Dragons will just make you get seasick and stroke out at the same time. You would actually be able to listen to that and go, okay, yep, if I ever see Drake of the 99 Dragons, I'm not getting that shit. That was nauseating just watching the footage from. That was old school G4. They would talk about tech, they would talk about gaming, and they were clearly interested in it. So you would be able to take the information that they gave, and you would feel like, oh, this is actually a valid thing. It's like now, if you're thinking about buying a game, you probably have a couple streamers or a couple YouTube channels that play various games that you listen to and take their advice. That's what G4 was. Now you go to those streamers, you go to those YouTubers, and you see what games they like, and you have fun taking their suggestions.
See, I think that's where my contention comes from, because I can't even do that. Like, look, the two in terms of like video game news, at least what I watch, is like Spawn Wave and RGB85, I believe his name is. I keep fucking up his name. And hey, man, if you're watching, God bless you. And don't shave that mustache, because we got to keep the mustaches going, man. But with them, even at that, I skip through it, because it's like, I just want to get the information. I don't want to hear your play on words. I don't want to hear your fucking script. I don't like, just, why is this? Tell me the information. That's all I want. So I mean, for me, like, the idea of a whole TV show about it is just like,
well, it wouldn't be a whole TV show about one game. They would, in the course of like a 30-minute program, they would cover they're 20 plus games.
Yeah, no, I get that, but that's even then. It's like, I would be uninterested 100% in that. Is as much as I want to find out about the information, it being coupled with all the entertainment part of it, I would be off-putted by it. But I mean, again, that's just a personal thing. I can't.
You just want the ticker tape saying game good, game bad.
Tell me what the fuck
onto the next one.
Information, and yeah, because everything else just kind of looks like a carnival show. It just looks like, like you're trying to sucker me into the information, but you're uninteresting. So, but I mean, again, that's just me. Like, I don't, and especially when they show me like bits what they did, I'm sitting there looking at it like, I probably wouldn't watch this shit.
So then you might be more interested in, or you would have been more interested in some of the other sorts of programming that early Tech TV and G4 had.
No, none of them, because I remember watching a lot of them, and they all were horrible, because it was just like two people standing there talking about technology, and then they show you a clip of it, and then it's like, yeah, we go to the next one. It's like, I don't care to watch it. But hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not interested in watching some person go on Twitch and fucking
Did you like
Straight-
BattleBots?
BattleBots. Was that the one where they
The robots fighting each other in the arena?
I was interested for like a couple episodes until it seemed that every robot was just going to be the vacuum cleaner robot with either a saw or a
The
drill.
wedge.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's just going to be one of these types of robots, and it's like, I don't want to watch it. Like, and hey, it's with everything, it's with all of them. Like
Once the meta took over, it became a bit.
once you see how the setup is, and then you see how they're going to do it, it's like, okay, what are you selling me at the beginning? Hey, we're going to show you how Gamison is working with chainmail armor. And it's like, okay. And then it's like, you get to the real nuts and bolts of it at the end of it, where it's like, oh yeah, well, they would combine it like this, but the rest of the episode is just them like, oh, well, this is how we make metal rings. And it's like, I don't want to fucking watch this shit. And like, what the so I wanted to watch about the efficiency of Gamison and steel ring armor. Like, what the hell is this?
You don't want to learn how it's made?
Just put that on a different episode.
I'm fascinated about learning how it's made and how it works.
I like that, but I want to know what I'm getting into. I'm horrible.
Early days of G4, the shows really came in three main varieties. There were the pure tech shows where they would just be talking about, this is the latest processor, here's how it stacks up. Then you had these are the newest games, here's the good ones, here's the bad ones. And then you'd have the general nerd topics shows. And those would be things like, it wasn't BattleBots. They had another one that was on G4 because BattleBots was the one that was on Comedy Central for a while. But
yeah, there was two of them.
They had the other one on G4, and then like Arena, which was early days competitive sports, competitive gaming. That's what I meant to say. Competitive gaming was what was one of the shows, Arena, on G4, and then they started going more towards other things, and they made it more of like nerd lifestyle rather than just nerd shit. And it was more interesting when it was just nerd shit, when you could figure out, oh, this is the good processor. Now it's completely been replaced by just YouTube channels, because if you're interested about what games are good, there's probably a YouTube channel or a streamer that you watch and you go, that game looks fun, I'm going to play that game, rather than tuning into a TV station. And when you find out that there's new tech on the way, then you would probably hit up your preferred tech tuber to see how they benchmark and all that shit now.
Well, hold on. First off, Cryptic, did you want to jump in?
Oh yeah. It's like the perfect example is like G4 TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were, where people get information, or even though they had, the whole nice ladies on TV and stuff, you still got to put good information from them. Now they're trying to jump back in, and they're trying to compete against, like you said, YouTubers and shit like that.
Yep.
I've been doing this for past couple, like a decade now, and they're not competing because they might have the information, the information the same as every YouTuber, but they don't have the charisma, and the reach of all these other people anymore. So
wait a minute. So are you saying that one of the drives for some of these hosts was the fact that they're trying to propel their career, and to do that, it doesn't just require a knowledge on niche video games, but it might also require being entertaining and good looking?
Well, the thing was that early days tech TV, it was mainly the actual knowledge that drove people to tech TV and to G4. Morgan Webb was attractive, but the main reason why you watched X play was because Morgan Webb knew her shit about gaming. So if she told you that a game was good, you were willing to go, yeah, the game's probably good. Let me try it. And 9 times out of 10, you'd go, this game is fucking good. Now, rather than all the hosts talking about games that they've actually played themselves and that they enjoy and giving you their opinions, they have someone in the writing team that will write up a script that then they read. And that isn't what you would tune in for. Because if you want to find out if a game is good, you're far more likely to go to one of the gaming streamers, to one of the gaming YouTube channels. I mean, shit, some of the games that I've purchased recently, I've purchased solely because of either Mandalore Gaming or Seth Zeech playing through them and going, this game is fucking ridiculous. And I find their reviews hilarious. If they say it's good, I find their review good, I'm going to give it a go. And 9 times out of 10, it's a good game. And there's gaming YouTubers that if I watch them play a game and I'm going, this looks fun, they're having fun, I'll try it. And most of the time, it's fun. Because they're talking about things that they actually know, that they are actually interested in. Whereas when you have someone who is just reading a script and not reading it all that well, why the fuck would you watch that? That was the big reason why Frost started getting shit on G4, because she said something that was blatantly false, and her defense was, I was just reading the script. It's not my fault I said something false. It's the writer's fault for writing something that wasn't correct. And you're going, in the back of your mind, you're supposed to be playing this shit too. I tune in. The reason why I would tune into you is if I thought that you were actually interested in this so I could take your advice. You're telling me that this isn't your opinion. Why the fuck would I watch you?
Yeah, it's kind of odd.
Yeah, and that's where they started to fail. They failed because they stopped having people that were actually passionate about it, and they just had people that would read the script as it's written. You don't want Ron Burgundy being your game journalist to tell you if a game is good, because you know that if someone says, or someone types into the teleprompter that, yes, let me pump my massive cock to this, they will just read that off completely monotone without any sort of actual meaning to it. And that isn't what people find interesting. They want your actual opinion. They want, if they're going to spend money on something, they want you to actually be able to go, no, this is my personal opinion. This is something that is good for X, Y, Z.
Thing is, Matt, sorry, took a shot of tequila there. It's for you, baby. But the idea is lost on a lot of people in terms of just the reflectiveness of their actions, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people realize that, you know, it's, you can say or do something, but that doesn't necessarily end there. You know, it goes off to other areas.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, to comment on what Spudgun just said, he watches a guy called Colonel Failure on YouTube. He doesn't always play games right, but he's fucking entertaining. That's effectively half the gamers that I watch when it comes to this sort of shit. One of my favorite gaming YouTubers is the Spiffing Brit. The entire point of the Spiffing Brit's channel is, if there is a way to play the game wrong and just break it, the Spiffing Brit will figure out how to do so to a glorious effect. And it's just hilarious watching this dude figure out ways to fuck a game up right proper. He turned one of the best examples of him just fucking up a game ridiculously was, you guys know Prison Architect, right? You've heard of that game?
I'm assuming it's like a dungeon keeper type of game.
Prison Architect is a very basic sim where you make a prison, you're supposed to run the prison.
Yeah.
He turned it into a farming simulator.
Oh, shit.
He played Prison Architect, where you're supposed to make a prison, bring in offenders, and make it so that it's profitable. He turned it into a farming simulator where he was just producing tea.
What is he, a Brit?
Yes, he's the spiffing Brit.
Oh, well, there you
go. And he did that. Then he went to another game that was, I can't remember what the other game was, but it was something that you were actually supposed to like farm and do shit like that, and he turned that one into a prison simulator. Just for shits and giggles. He constantly just breaks games in the most amusing way. Like I mentioned earlier, I watch Mandalore Gaming. Mandalore Gaming gives just really good in-depth breakdowns to various games. And we'll talk about their plot. We'll talk about how the game was made, what makes that shit fun. I don't have a link to that one in particular, but Spudgun, here, I sent a link to Terry yesterday just because I found it funny that the Spiffing Brit was playing through a game of Skyrim where he decided that he would do a level 1 only run of Skyrim, and the character that he made was Terry the Tiger, and it was his backstory for Terry the Tiger was effectively he was Tony the Tiger's meth head brother.
Oh shit.
And he just does weird shit like that. So there's the link to the Can You Beat Skyrim level 1 only challenge with Terry the Tiger. He just does all kinds of weird shit. He did the organ harvesting run of RimWorld where he decided that he would make his entire profit for his colony out of capturing people and harvesting as many organs from them as he possibly could. He does... Ages ago, he did his 100 Statman runs of Crusader Kings. And in that one, his leader went crazy, made his horse immortal. His horse became sapient, and then he made his horse his primary religious official. So he just breaks games in the most glorious of fashions, and it's hilarious. Really funny person to watch. But that's the type of people that I watch. And like I said, Seth Zeech, with his game reviews are like 90% just him making fucking weird jokes, and it is glorious. And playing his gameplay videos on, I can never remember, is it Heroes of Might and Magic is the RPG and Might and Magic is the RTS, or not the RTS, the turn-based strategy, or is it the other way around? Do you remember, Adam? Well, they are both currently muted, but one of those game series is a RPG, one of them is a turn-based strategy, and every time that he plays the RPG one, he makes his party as weird as he possibly can, and all based off other YouTubers. So he'll have like the internet historian being his mage and just makes them say weird shit throughout the entire gameplay. It's funny. Those are the people that I watch.
Yeah, it's creative. It's like some creators like they play the game and they give their thoughts, but it's like I could just read this shit or just listen to somebody else. Like you know, review the game, but they have no personality. It's like that's why I like like what's his name? Gerard, right? He's been in a lot of shit lately because he's associated with the
Mm-hmm.
G4 and stuff. He's actually quite a good creator. His content is quite good. It's just
Yeah.
he's gone a little bit, you know,
Off the deep
mainstream.
end.
I guess. Yeah, mainstream kind of deal. Like it's same thing with what's his name? Jesse Cox. Yeah, I used to watch him
Mm-hmm.
constantly too, but he's gone. Like, dude, you used to make good content nowadays. Like his Scary Game Squad is the only thing I watch nowadays. Everything else, like he used to make, I don't watch anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate. It's like a lot of creators nowadays, the content is not great.
Yeah, if you're watching a creator, you're watching them for their personality and for the shit that they're talking about. Like, if you guys didn't find the weird tangents that I go off on Minions interesting, you probably wouldn't be tuning in on Friday nights.
That's a very fair observation, sir.
Yeah, and if you found the topics that were talked about just unbelievably boring, you probably also wouldn't be tuning in on Fridays. It's you find the topics interesting and you find the weird tangents interesting is probably the reason why you routinely tune in.
And honestly, when I show the minions of the zoo, I tend to obfuscate that it's a is that the right word? That it's a broad viewpoint in terms of topics of what we talk about. It depends on the day that you're checking in. You know, 'cause on a Monday it might be different from on a Tuesday.
Yeah, some days it's more political, some days it's more pop culture, some days we spend 75% of the show talking about ancient and medieval history, and then we end on gaming.
Yeah.
And some days it is food porn. It depends on what day you tune in.
Dude, just look at the show today. I mean, we started with food porn, essentially, and we started talking about ancient battles and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all dependent on what happened.
Yeah, and the problem is that they both had a fall in the quality of content that they put out, as well as a fall in the personalities of the people presenting the content. When you have a skin suit presenting content that is subpar, you're not going to watch. And especially if that skin suit then chastises you. You're just going to go, you know what? Fuck you. I don't need this shit. And you're going to leave. That's what's happening with G4. They're committing suicide.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
again, like I said, and you got to ask if the question then becomes, well, why would they do that? It's simple. It's the suits behind the desk. They think that this is the right course of action, so they found people to push that course of action. That's what you get. You get this person who goes out there and says, "Hey, in the middle of a rant about Assassin's Creed, I think it was, or fucking God of War. What? Oh no, Red Dead Redemption. It was that R2 wasn't paying too much attention to our Red Dead Redemption. I can speak. I guess I have linguistic skills. Wow. Okay, let's try it again. Can I try it again?
About half those words were the right words and in the right order.
I know that's weird. It's weird how that works, but I'm still trying to work this brain. So so they all these pieces fit together, and they still chose this person to head up the line, And then when they let her loose on the rant, they were looking at all the other people and saying, "Hey, why don't you go ahead and you know slap your hands like walruses and just fucking accept the fish?" Like what the fuck? But again, this is all what again. This is why when I'm looking at this and I'm seeing people like it's a Gundam. I think it's a Gundam was saying, and there was another YouTuber. I think it was Yellow Flash. I think
Yep.
who was saying that they were really big fans of Adam Sessler, and
Yep. He was funny in the early days.
but that's what I'm saying. I'm like I'm looking at this and I'm sitting there. I'm like, you were fans of that? That's what you were because I'm coming in. I'm completely blank. This is a whole alien world to me. So I'm looking at this, and when they're saying they're like, "Yeah, dude, yeah, we love G4, we love this," and I saw the clips of like Olivia Munn jumping in, I think whatever what is it, pudding or cream cheese or some shit, and or her eating hot dogs or whatever. And it's like, okay, I get it, but that's what you guys were doing. Like, what the fuck was I doing? Oh, I was playing Rome. Yeah, I'm fucking stupid. I was sitting there spending my time playing an antiquated game at the time. Everybody was.
To comment on something that Gamer Valine just said, if you go medieval and you become proper mercenary, are you going to go for later medieval, early Renaissance and go for the full-blown Landsknecht codpiece when you go mercenary? Or are you not going to go for the prominent codpiece and brightly colored garb?
Hold on. Who is this person? Where's my chat?
Gamer Valine. She said, medieval, if cancel culture makes it so I can't speak at work, my plan is to become a mercenary and go medieval on some mofos.
Oh my goodness. Are you going to become a Swiss Picard?
Like I said, are you going to go full-blown Landsknecht and get the prominent codpiece and wear the rather garishly colorful attire?
Oh, it's vibrant for sure. It's noticeable.
And you're about to say Cryptic.
I was because a lot of these gaming companies are fucking they're dumb. They've lost so much perspective to what the audience wants, right? That they think that this small minor group was like, that should be a woman, blah 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 blah, whatever, They don't make the games that they need to make anymore, or like that's fun, Instead, they like, social justice this, social justice that, and it's like it's ruining a lot of. It's ruined the comic industry completely. That's a given now, but it's like it's starting to creep in slowly into the gaming industry, and then my fear is like, in 5 years, you're like, oh, yeah, you remember that game that game you liked, like Call of Duty? Now it's like a woman would buy. Oh, I'm sorry, they've already done that. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, the thing is that it's going to be what's happened many times in the industry. The old giants of the industry are going to collapse because they just can't put out the games that made them big names. They fall down in quality. So a new person will take over. And there are exceptions to this. Like Nintendo started out rather early, and Nintendo hasn't ever really collapsed. It had years that it didn't do as well as previous years, but it's always been more or less relevant. But there are other companies that rose up and then just fucking died. Atari, Relic, Rare. There are game studios that popped up, became big with a title, and then died off because later editions just didn't live up. And you're going to say Cryptic.
Oh, I'm saying the funny thing is you mentioned Nintendo, right? Nintendo is one of the few companies that have not bowed to like, oh, you should make fucking Peach or goddamn the main,
Well, I saw some news articles that they might be bowing the knee, but I don't know how much, because Nintendo they've stayed their own shit and it's helped them. And honestly, I think that's why I'm so lost in the whole G4 shit, because I stuck with Nintendo, and what we were doing was we were playing Wii bowling and, and fucking virtual consoles. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing.
Well, Sony has bowed to every SJW fucking shit out there because they made Sony, unfortunately, Sony of America, the primary fucking decision maker in terms of that gaming shit.
Well, hasn't it effectively just been the Western releases are the issue?
No.
Or did they actually censor the Eastern releases as well?
Hold on. So, did they censor Shiva in Final Fantasy VIII in Japan as well? Because I remember they removed her cleavage, I think it was, or some stupid shit.
Well, they've actually censored a lot, like Final Fantasy 4, like 3 through 6. Even the Pixel ones, they've been censoring that too. Sony has been slowly becoming.
Holy shit! Hold on, real quick. I just want to address this. Terry, you don't talk shit about Sega, okay? Let's just be clear. We're a Sega family here, okay?
Didn't you just say that you were sticking with Nintendo?
Well, Sega's, Sega's kind of like Obi-Wan right now, so I'm with Obi-Wan.
in terms of like the three major console manufacturer, right? Yeah. Nintendo the only one that's like, oh, fuck you guys. We're not dealing with this political bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kept on humming along, going, yeah, we'll make it whatever we want. Sony has gone off the deep end when it comes to that shit. Microsoft, they let whatever fucking games. They don't really have a focus on in terms of their first person bullshit. As if
they're Halo, the shotgunners of the group. They don't really focus on anything. They just fuck it, throw everything. Let's see what sticks.
Well, honestly, I think they're going with a whole different. Like, I think the thing with Microsoft, and I think this is the thing that's catching everybody off guard, is that they're going with an entirely different strategy with their free-to-play service. That just kind of renders everything out. And when things like, hey, they just bought Activision and Blizzard, it puts a whole bunch of more weight onto what they're able to do in terms, like, when Sony comes out and says, Call of Duty being an exclusive to Xbox is going to be damaging to our profits, that's where they're looking at,
Yeah, but I don't think that Xbox will, or that Microsoft will end up doing that, because Microsoft, with the exception of a handful of games, they don't really do exclusives. They go, fuck it, throw it on everything. We get the sales. Why would we not throw it on?
Hold on, I agree with you. And just recently, as I was playing Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I believe when you look in the developers, it says Xbox team or something like that, like Xbox developers team or something like weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was Rare, we all know Rare. Shut up, Terry. Nobody wants a new Lost Vikings game. Okay, get out of here with that. No,
the Lost Vikings were fun.
The strategy of
Lost
Microsoft.
Vikings were fun.
Fucking, that was a nice distraction, sir. I see you studied Sun Tzu. Okay, no, but seriously, like, what they were doing is, shit. See, I forgot. Damn it, Terry. I forgot what I was talking about. Go ahead, Sanguine.
Well, it was Cryptic that was trying.
Or Cryptic, I'm sorry.
The strategy of Microsoft is that, look, I guarantee you this current Xbox generation is the last generation. they're gonna try to shift everybody to PC gaming. That's the reason why they bought all these damn companies, Activision, Blizzard, and all that stuff, right? Is what it is. They want to build the library to the point where the Xbox Live service, right? Xbox Pass service is gonna be what they want to sell, not a console, because A, they don't have to fucking manufacture another console. B, right? If they sell this service, they can say, okay, pay us $25 a month. It's not 25 yet, but it will be. Like, pay us $25 a month, and you can get all these exclusive games that we bought, we have, which, you know, we just bought from fucking Activision Blizzard, and, you know, all the you know, StarCraft and Warcraft.
So, do you think that they want to be the bastard child of Steam and Netflix, effectively?
Hold on.
Basically, yes.
Would they just end up buying Steam? And at that point, like,
No,
they were already calling monopoly when Microsoft bought Activision and Blizzard. Like, that's like, am I gonna have to link up my BattleNet account to my Microsoft account? Like, this is.
See, I don't get the people that were crying that it's a monopoly, because here's the thing. They're buying a lot of AAA studios. They're buying pretty much every AAA studio that they can. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. What is their anti-competitive trend that they're currently doing? Are they saying that third parties aren't allowed to produce games for their systems? No, they're still allowing people to produce games. Are they saying that none of the companies that they purchased will produce games for any other system? No, they're still producing games for every other system. So what is the anti-competitive aspect? They don't really seem to be crushing opposition in any way in either console nor in-game development.
Well, hold on. The thing
actually, go ahead.
Well, real quick. One, I was gonna say, it's the concept of not allowing these people the opportunity to be able to crush opposition. One, and the other thing is, but at the same end, they haven't shown that they have done that. Banjo-Kazooie being a result, and again, I would be really happy if they were like, okay, we put Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo 64 Switch Online platform. We're gonna put Killer Instinct and God, hopefully, fucking Conker's Bad Fur Day. Look, I've never played Banjo-Kazooie. This game's pretty fun. It really is a fucking collectathon, though. But the moment I picked up the first fucking note thing, it was like, hey, there's 100 of us on this stage. You should find us all. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm gonna fucking sit there and look around for 100. But either way, that's fucking rare.
And
actually, you're actually you're wrong on one front there, Sanguine.
Which one?
But there's Microsoft bought Bethesda, right? So they are restricting games that goes to other platform, like Starfield. This is one of the games that was anticipated was going to be a multi-platform release, right? Once Microsoft bought them, that Starfield is now Xbox exclusive. Basically, what Microsoft is doing is they have a shit record of first-person games, right? They really don't have. Besides Halo, is the only one they have, right?
Yeah, that's effectively their only exclusive.
Right. So right now they bought Bethesda not too long ago, and they're making Starfield basically exclusive to Xbox, right? So they're gonna allow certain studios to publish maybe like second tier games, like let's say Call of Duty, right? They're gonna allow the Call of Duty, I don't know, fucking battle royale, but they're not gonna let let the next mainline Call of Duty go on to PlayStation. It's anti-competitive in that because they basically absorb one of the major franchises out there. Now it's not going to be available on other console.
Well, hold on.
We'll have to see if that's the case because
did that count for Final Fantasy?
Say what I'm saying. What?
Well, Final Fantasy started on Nintendo consoles. It started on the NES and then Super NES, and then it went to the PlayStation, and it remained exclusively with Sony. So would that have counted with that? I'm just asking.
No, it's not because Sony didn't own Final Fantasy. It's just that Square at the time, before they became Square Enix, decided that it was better to jump ship from Nintendo because the Nintendo did not want to do a disc at the time to Sony's PlayStation 1, right? So that's not like an apples to apple comparison. It's a apple to orange at the moment. The problem with the way Microsoft's doing right now is like they're buying the actual studios that made all these games, the great games, right? And they already bought Bethesda, and they already made basically Starfield exclusive. They're gonna they're gonna probably end up making Fallout 5 exclusive. They're gonna probably end up making other shit exclusive, like what's the other fucking famous franchise? They whatever franchises but Bethesda's gonna whatever other games Bethesda's gonna send out in the next
the Elder Scrolls series.
Elder Scroll probably too, yeah. But I was thinking more the other one, the fucking where.
We'll have to see on that,
Yeah.
but even like I said, when it comes to them being a monopoly, you have to get anti-competitive, which that isn't just, well, we have exclusives that we don't allow on other consoles. That doesn't meet the criteria of anti-competitive.
Doom was the one I was thinking. Sorry.
And they have to reach the point where they are cornering the market through anti-competitive procedures. And if, like I said, if they're failing the anti-competitive mark and they haven't cornered the market because there's a shit ton of game studios, it's really difficult to say that they are forming a monopoly. Now, if we start seeing anti-competitive shit, then my opinion would change. But at the time being, I don't see a really valid argument for saying that they're becoming a monopoly.
Well, it's not monopoly per se, but like they're buying up all the franchises. Yeah, all the franchises that we've all been associated with.
But that's the thing. Hold on, that's the thing that I'm like trying to like rationalize, because I'm sitting there looking at it like they're trying to tell me that it's a monopoly of all the biggest franchises, but I'm sitting there looking at it like, dude, I haven't played any one of these fucking games in a long time. And what in the fuck are they telling me that like Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard doesn't affect me from playing Rome Remastered? Like I don't understand why people are like, whoa, what the fuck? Future iterations, sure, we might see some differences. Let's address it as they go. But
we'll have to see if quality goes up, if quality stays the same, or if quality goes down, because those are the three options when it comes to games. And also, as I was saying, until we start seeing them do anti-competitive actions, you can't really say that they're becoming a monopoly, because anti-competitive actions is a criteria of being a monopoly.
Well, hold on. Right with anti-competitive, I would say included now is if you start injecting the current political mindscape, I think that has an issue with it.
Well,
And I think that
isn't-
might be where people have concern with this merger.
That's its
only
own
in-
thing. That isn't a monopoly issue.
It's
Yeah.
I know. It's just I think it's just it's one of those like we're seeing the lesser fog before the the bigger fog type of stuff.
No, the issue now, okay. Let's say, okay, but they haven't done it yet, but they might. But it's like, let's say all the games are available on Steam, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's owned by, but there's an Activision Blizzard, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they get yanked, right? Once the official sale is complete, they get yanked. Like, okay, you can't get it on Steam anymore because we bought them. You have to buy it through Xbox Store. Now that's a shitty move.
And
That would
you
be
know
a
what?
shitty move.
Hold
but
on,
that's-
hold on. We have we lost Cryptic. As he
He'll be
posted it.
back in a moment. It's probably internet.
Yeah, but he brought up a
issues
good
again.
point. And I was gonna say too. You can look back at the Xbox Live Arcade, where you could buy like the Simpsons arcade, and now you can't buy it. You know, like
Yeah,
that's
but that again, that wouldn't be a issue of monopoly, because then that'd be saying, well, Ubisoft was then engaging in anti-competitive monopolistic practices, and there's a device not connected. So Cryptic, once that's sorted out, I will be able to click you back in. But until then, I can't click you in.
but
Ubisoft had the games being sold through Steam, and then they decided, no, we're going to have our own launcher. So the Ubisoft launcher started up, and the same would be for the Epic game server, because that started having Epic game server exclusives and pulled a bunch of titles from the Steam service when they negotiated exclusives. So it becomes one of those things that, again, that doesn't reach the point of monopoly. Now, if they start engaging in anti-competitive monopolistic practices, then, like I said, my assessment will change. But at the moment, the people say, well, they're forming a monopoly. No, they aren't. They might be trying to work towards one, but they aren't. And to say that they are already is incorrect. So it might be something that they work towards, in which case, yes, it should be dealt with when it happens, but you can't go, well, we're going to try them for committing a crime that they haven't yet committed.
yeah, that's the
That makes
weird
sense.
part. You know, like when they started saying like, "Oh shit, they're gonna do this," and it's like, well, when they do it, then we can charge them. But if they haven't done it, we can't charge them. So, you know, what do you want to do? You know, you can't charge people for having a mentality of something. Let's be reasonable, you fucking creatures. Humans.
It isn't a case where they've. It's not like the phone line issues that we had where, what was it, Bell Atlantic or Bell, before they had to split into Bell Atlantic and like 3 other companies.
Well, it
Bell was
even
just
even
buying
before
up-
the phone lines, it was the train lines. You know,
Yes, there was the train line monopolies where they were just buying all the train lines. So
and
it
hey,
became
let's not sugarcoat it. It was, hey, you bought a ticket for a train, and then all of a sudden you had to go and transfer to another train to go and travel a couple of miles because this dude owned this land, and then you got to go and transfer to another train because this dude owned this mile. So let's, you know, as much as people want to romanticize the fucking, no, all of it was shit. All of it was shit.
yeah, I've said it before. My major issue is non-meritorious monopolies. Meritorious monopolies are kind of their own beast. They still have problems, but a meritorious monopoly is far more tolerable than a non-meritorious monopoly.
I want a
And what I
workable,
mean-
not a tolerable, a workable.
Well, workable is a more tolerable situation than an unworkable. So, an example of a non-meritorious is during the time of the so-called robber barons. In fact, one of the ways that one of the robber barons earned his fortune in the first place was New York had stated a monopoly on it was on ferries in New York State. They said this one company is the only one allowed to have ferries within New York State. One of the people that became a robber baron went, you know what, fuck that. He started running effectively a black market ferry, and one money hand over fist drove the other company under because they were trying to charge way more than he was, and he ended up buying them out at the end. So if the New York State saying that they were the only ferry that was allowed to function, that was a non-meritorious monopoly. That company going under and being bought by the company that beat them was a meritorious monopoly. Now, if they then start making sure that no other company can ever rise up and replace them, that's where it becomes anti-competitive. If they're just continuing to offer a better product for less, and because of that, they keep on winning, yeah, that's market functions. And I just realized we've been streaming for over 3 hours.
Holy shit! Are you serious?
Yep. Doesn't seem like it's been that long.
Hey, Cryptic, how you feeling?
Oh, I'm all fucking passed the hell out, man, right now.
Dude, me too. I think
Both
honestly.
knackered, okay.
Oh, I was gonna say the past two days I've probably had 3 hours of sleep.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Well-
well, we're struggling.
Then we should go round the horn and you should give your parting words and then go pass the fuck out and try to get more than 3 hours tonight.
What? No. Obviously, I came out of work with a sudden urge, an awakeness, awakeningness, and so I'm probably going to be up for another couple hours.
Filled with vim and vinegar, or the other phrasing, filled with piss and vinegar.
As long as it's not onions, I'm okay with it. Son of a bitch. Nobody better give me those fucking onions. Don't give me that French song about it, you fucker. I see you. I see you.
Oui.
No.
No, I'll just send you the coconut song afterwards. Don't worry.
I will take the coconut song over the onion song.
No, I think it lasted 3 hours because we were talking about shit that we actually care about. So
Hey,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what? Can we at least say we had a good? I thought we had a good conversation. Did you
Oh,
guys?
yeah,
have a
like
good
I said, I had
Yeah.
fun, which is why it passed quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. You know what, Cryptic? You're making us feel bad
feel bad for what?
because you're making us feel bad that we had a bad conversation.
No, I say it's a good conversation. That's why it lasted so long.
Oh, good conversation. Okay,
Mhm.
so we can go out for dinner afterwards, right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a poke afterwards. Whatever.
I like it. Okay, so Sanguine, you asked me to.
Parting words.
Yes.
And apparently you and Cryptic are going to bum, was what I just got after that short exchange.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
You're welcome too, dude. I mean, come on, we're all gonna go out for some barbecue. I'm down.
I'm
but-
up for food and I'm up for drinking. After that, I am not engaging in the bumming, it sounded like.
Oh well, what? Yeah, none of that. What? But okay, so look, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. It was a fun stream, fun chat. But like I always say, love you all. God bless. Y'all take care.
Copy that. Cryptic, after you've just been rejected twice for the bumming offer.
It's okay. It's okay. I bum myself anyway, so. But
I thought you were
you
in
know
the
what?
Marine Corps, not the Navy.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, no. I'm looking through my collection of games right now, and I realize I'm a fucking nerd. But anyway, thank you for joining. It's been fun conversation. I haven't. It was if it wasn't a fun conversation, I would not be goddamn up till what was it 12:40 a.m. I haven't been up this long in a long fucking time. Usually I'm gone by now, so it's been enjoyable. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Yep. And I'll leave off with my standard of if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed. This is when you guys say goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
You people are horrible. I'm kidding. Bye.
Have a good night, all.